Chapter 496. When Valley Master Nai saw this, he looked around and said in a low voice, "I remember when Brother Yang came here 10 years ago, you seem to have said that you liked divine weapons very much." Manager Yang was stunned and then his eyes lit up. "Brother Nai has a good memory. That year it was just a drunken nonsense, but you still remember it clearly." Valley Master Nai smiled and took out a short sword from his chest. It was about 3 inches long and had a simple scabbard with green spots. He handed it in front of Manager Yang and said, "Brother Yang, can you help me appraise it?" Manager Yang's eyes had never left the scabbard since the short sword appeared. Seeing Valley Master Nai hand it over, he didn't hesitate and reached out to take it. First, he carefully looked at its appearance. Then, he held the scabbard with one hand and the hilt with the other. His hands slightly exerted force and with a light sound, the bright short sword was pulled out of the scabbard. It was like a flash of lightning on the ground. Manager Yang's eyes first squinted and then widened. After looking at it for a while, 2 words came out of his mouth, "Good sword." Then he reluctantly handed it to Valley Master Nai and said, "Brother Nai, where did you get this sword? What's its name?" Valley Master Nai didn't take the sword and only smiled. This sword was accidentally found by weapon forging sect's boss Sai in the ruins of their sect. "It doesn't have a name. How rare. There's actually such a sharp nameless short sword in this world. It's comparable to the 4 famous swords of Jianghu." Unfortunately. Unfortunately what? Valley Master Nai said, "Unfortunately you can't play with it for a long time." TSK. Manager Yang smacked his lips but didn't admit it. Valley Master Nai used his hand to push the dagger back to Manager Yang and said, "Ever since I heard you say that you like divine weapons, I've been paying attention to it. Unfortunately, I didn't have the opportunity to do so until last year when I heard that Boss Sai had obtained this nameless dagger. I immediately thought of little brother, so I specially went to weapon forging sect to ask Boss Sai for it. I want to give it to little brother today, so you don't have to be polite." This. Manager Yang was a little unnatural. He handed the dagger back and said, "As the saying goes, one should not accept a reward for nothing. Although we brothers have a good relationship, it is really not good for a brother to accept such a valuable item." Valley Master Nai said with a straight face, "Little brother Yang is really treating me as an outsider. I just said that you are half the master of Rejuvenation Valley. Let's not even talk about the nameless sword, even if it is one of the 4 great swords, it can't compare to our friendship. You can rest assured and accept it." Seeing Valley Head Nai's angry expression, Manager Yang went with the flow and said, "Since Brother Nai says so, then as a brother, I won't hold back. However, Brother Nai, don't treat me as an outsider. If there's anything that's troubling you, just tell me. If I can do it, I will definitely do it for you." Valley Master Nai had given away this precious short sword just for this sentence. Now that he heard it, how could he not be happy? He only said, "This matter is difficult, but it is also not difficult. It depends on whether little brother Yang is willing to do it or not. Of course, if little brother Yang feels that it is not appropriate, just tell this old man. As a brother, I will definitely not make things difficult for you." Finishing speaking, he walked to the entrance of Rejuvenation Hall and waved his hand. Not long after, 9, 11 or 12-year-old boys walked in a row from outside the hall. They all had red lips and white teeth and had a dignified appearance. The 9 boys entered the door and lined up in a row, bowing together. Looking at the 9 boys, Manager Yang had a puzzled expression. He looked at Valley Head Nai who was walking back and said in a low voice, "What is it? Little brother Nai, are there few people this year? There are only 9 of them. Is this what's troubling you, brother?" Valley Head Nai shook his head. "Little brother Yang, take a closer look. What do you think of these 9 boys?" All right. Since this was official business of the cult of incense, Manager Yang didn't dare to be careless. He first walked closer and carefully looked at them one by one. He even reached out to pinch their bones and nodded frequently. Then, he asked about the knowledge of medicinal herbs and alchemy one by one. The 9 boys all answered fluently without any awkwardness. After the inspection, Valley Head Nai waved his hand and dismissed the 9 boys. Manager Yang then smiled, "Little brother Nai, I really envy your Rejuvenation Valley. Every time you have such talented boys, No wonder my cult of incense had to look for boys from your place. Valley Head Nai said, are you satisfied with these 9 boys? Yes, I am very satisfied. Little brother Nai, if this is your problem, I can answer you. I can definitely help you with this. Valley Head Nai smiled bitterly. Boss Yang is considerate. This old man thanks you. However, the matter is not that simple. Listen to me first. Then, he invited Manager Yang to drink a mouthful of tea and said, Little brother Yang just mentioned the difficulties my Rejuvenation Valley encountered last year. I presume you already know the reason. That's right, Manager Yang said with a smile. Although my fragrant school doesn't pay much attention to worldly affairs, we're still somewhat aware of the matter concerning Rejuvenation Valley. However, the mastermind behind this is truly well hidden. Even the people in Carefree City haven't been able to find any clues. Of course, if old brother Nai is interested, I can return to the fragrant school and report to the hall master. Perhaps he'll have a better method to uncover the enemy. Valley Head Nai shook his head and said, since it is the enemy, they will eventually show themselves. There is no need to disturb the hallmaster's meditation over such a small matter. Manager Yang also nodded and praised, little brother Nai is very scheming. The martial arts competition for a spouse is a plan that kills 2 birds with 1 stone. First, it draws the attention of all the forces in Jianghu to Rejuvenation Valley so that the enemy won't dare to make a move against Rejuvenation Valley openly. Second, it has also found a good husband for little you. As a younger brother, I have no choice but to admire you. At this point, Manager Yang suddenly thought, that's right, why hasn't little you come? No matter what, I have watched this girl grow up. Every time she comes, she calls me uncle and is very enthusiastic. How come I don't see her this time? I, as her uncle, have already come to the inner hall. Why hasn't she come to pay her respects? Tilda Valley Head Nai sighed deeply and said, little you is happy to know that you are coming. However, I said that this difficult matter is related to her. It won't be too late to have her come to pay her respects after this old man has explained the matter clearly. Hey! Manager Yang was even more surprised. Several months have passed since the martial arts competition for a spouse. Our little you also. Oh, that's not right. I heard from our spies that little you's husband seems to be quite young and hasn't married yet. That must be it. I haven't heard the news of Rejuvenation Valley holding a wedding. However, what matter is there that requires me to take action? Manager Yang was a bit confused. Valley Head Nai muttered to himself for a moment and then said the words that he had agreed on with Yu Yang and Zhong Xiaohua. After listening to Valley Head Nai's words, although Manager Yang's expression didn't change, his eyes flickered as if he was thinking about something. After a long time, he sighed and said, old brother Nai, we have been friends for decades and you have never asked me for anything. To be honest, how would I dare to agree to your request? You also know why my school of fragrance has been looking for people from you for so many years. First, it is because your Rejuvenation Valley's medicine boys have good qualifications. They are hardworking and can easily be used. It saves time and effort compared to us looking for them ourselves. Second, your Rejuvenation Valley knows everything about you and the people you send are trustworthy. Your son-in-law is still an outsider. He only used the time it takes for 3 incense sticks to burn on the arena to win the competition. This only proves that his martial arts are good, but it doesn't prove that he is a stable and reliable person. Valley Head Nai's expression didn't change as if he had already expected this. He smiled apologetically and said, old brother Yang, you are right. Reliable and trustworthy are the only criteria for us to choose medicine boys. I understand this very well. So when I wanted to recommend Xiao Yarrow to your sect, my Rejuvenation Valley had already investigated his background clearly. Xiao Yarrow came from Bida School, far in the north. Hearing this, Manager Yang frowned. Bida School? How come I have never heard of it? However, he immediately smiled and said, there are too many small sects in the Jianghu. You kill me and I destroy you. Who knows how many sects are born and destroyed every day? Valley Head Nai nodded and said, I have indeed never heard of this Bida school. However, although this Ren Xiaoyaro is still young, he is indeed a good and chivalrous child. Manager Yang was stunned again. How do you explain this? Thus, Valley head Nai explained the matter of Zhong Xiaohua escorting Nai Chenyu back in full detail. When Manager Yang heard this, his face was filled with joy and he said with a smile, "I was wondering why old brother was so assured to let an outsider become your son-in-law so easily. So there is this layer of responsibility involved. If what you said is true, Ren Xiaoyao escorting Xiao Yu back to the valley for thousands of miles, this righteousness and this kindness is indeed not easy." Then, he laughed coldly, "Even if the Big Dipper sect is a nameless sect, as long as my fragrant cult pays attention to them, it won't be a problem. As long as they leave their names in my fragrant cult, when they return to Jianghu, their Big Dipper sect will also become famous." When Valley Head Nai heard this, his heart was filled with joy. "I knew old brother would understand my thoughts. If it is not a person who can be trusted, how would I dare to casually invite him to marry into my family? And then casually recommend him to your sect?" Manager Yang was not in a hurry to agree and said, "Where is Xiao Yu? Let Xiao Yu come over. I have not seen this niece for a long time." Valley Head Nai smiled. "Xiao Yu is already waiting at the door. Wait here." When he finished speaking, he walked to the door and replaced Nai Chenyu, who had been waiting at the door, with Huichun Hall. When Nai Chenyu saw the smile on her father's face, she knew that the matter was settled. She was half happy and half worried. She forced a smile on her face and quickly walked to the front of the hall to pay her respects. When Manager Yang saw Nai Chenyu walk into the hall, he was obviously stunned. It was only when Nai Chenyu paid her respects that he woke up from a dream. He quickly got up and helped her up. He looked at her from head to toe and sighed, "Xiao Yu, your father told me about your situation a few years ago. It is my fault as your uncle that I did not take it to heart. I only thought that your father was overly worried and overly concerned about his children. Now it seems that it is true. This year, you," Manager Yang frowned and started counting. Nai Chenyu smiled, "Uncle Yang, I am already 16 years old this year." Manager Yang slapped his forehead and said, "Of course, you are already a 16-year-old lady." Then, he looked regretfully at Nai Chenyu's body that was still developing and said, "But compared to a few years ago, there is not much change." -3. Chapter 497. Manager Yang's words made Nai Chenyu a little sad, but Manager Yang had watched her grow up and was also a member of the fragrant religion. Nai Chenyu treated him as an elder, so she could only force a smile and said, "Maybe the next time Uncle Yang comes, I will have grown up." Manager Yang smiled bitterly and said, "If there is a next time, I will definitely help little you see if there are any good pills when I return to the fragrant religion. Unfortunately, this is the last time I go down the mountain. You may not see me in the future." Ah! Not only Nai Chenyu, but Valley Master Nai was also shocked. "Brother Yang, why is that?" Manager Yang forced himself to be spirited. "There is no special reason. It is just that I am old and some things are beyond my ability. It is also time for the younger generation to come out and gain experience. Brother Nai, I have been hinting again and again just now, but you didn't understand. It seems that you are really absent-minded." Valley Master Nai said awkwardly, "Brother is right. This is the first time, also the last time I ask you to do something. I am very nervous." Nai Chenyu was also at the side and pleaded, "This is also my wish. Uncle Yang, please fulfill my wish." Manager Yang looked at Nai Chenyu and said with a smile, "Little you, don't forget. If your ideal husband doesn't go to the fragrant religion, after 2 or 3 years, even if I can't get you elixirs, you can still have your wedding night and live a happy life. But if I take him away, in these 2 or 3 years, you won't be able to see your husband. Can you bear to do that? Moreover, there are many female disciples in the fragrant religion. Aren't you afraid?" Nai Chenyu's face was crimson and her eyes were full of hesitation. All of this was seen by Manager Yang. Nai Chenyu bowed and said, "Uncle Yang, please fulfill my wish. Although I am very reluctant to let my husband leave, he is still young. If he is blindly greedy for love, even if the foundation of Rejuvenation Valley is given to him, he may not be able to develop it. Only by putting him in the fragrant religion can he really learn the essence of alchemy. When he comes back, he will be able to take over father's mantle. As for the female disciples of the fragrant religion, since Uncle Yang is in the fragrant religion, Why should I worry so much? Manager Yang heard and laughed. Little Yu is still so good at talking. Uncle Yang is happy. Uncle, you agree to this matter? Nai Chenyu said happily. Manager Yang shook his head. This is not a small matter. I still have to discuss it with your father carefully. Manager Yang asked Nai Chenyu to come in. Firstly, he wanted to see her. Most importantly, he wanted to see Nai Chenyu's reaction and see if Valley Master Nai was telling the truth. Since he had already verified his thoughts, he naturally had to discuss it with Valley Master Nai. Seeing this, Nai Chenyu looked at her father, bowed and left. After Nai Chenyu left, Manager Yang shook his head and said, I understand brother's painstaking efforts. Little Yu looks 12 or 13 years old. It is indeed not easy to get married immediately. If Ren Xiaoyao. Oh, that's right. Just saying that Ren Xiaoyao is young. How old is he? 15 years old. Valley Master Nai replied. Oh, 15 years old. He is a good match for little Yu. But as a medicine boy, he is much older. That's why Brother Yang still needs to deal with them. Valley Master Nai took out a jade box from his sleeve and handed it over. Manager Yang did not understand and asked curiously, what is this? Valley Master Nai smiled. This is the carefree grass that grows in Rejuvenation Valley. Ah! Manager Yang exclaimed, is it that 300-year-old carefree grass? But you are willing to pick it. Valley Master Nai said, herbs are meant to be picked. If you don't pick it now, you will have to pick it sooner or later. This carefree grass is 300 years old this year. It is easy to use. Bring it to the Hall Master and say that it is a gift from me. I hope he can make an exception. Ah, Brother Nai, I don't want to criticize you. There are thousands of paths to success in the world. Why do you insist on the incense cult? Haven't you seen how many medicine boys that were sent to the incense cult have returned to Jianghu? As far as I know, it is only the genius from 100 years ago that was recorded in the ancient records. In the past few decades, the only one who was able to become an outer disciple was Lu Lihong. You have to know that there is still a long way to go from an outer disciple to Jianghu. Even if it is time to Jianghu, you still have to break through the array. Break through the array? Valley Master Nai asked curiously, how come I have never heard of it? Manager Yang smiled bitterly, this is the internal affairs of the incense cult. How would you know? Don't think that it is easy to travel Jianghu just because I come out every few years. The disciples of the Pill Repository Hall are different from other disciples. We have missions to go out and collect herbs and medicine boys. This mission is only temporary. If your son-in-law is able to reach the stage of Jianghu, his martial arts must be much higher than mine. Only by passing the array of the incense cult can he pass the assessment and obtain the qualifications to travel Jianghu. Then, he sighed and said, usually, at this point, an outer disciple's martial arts are already very high. They are allowed to roam Jianghu and also have the qualifications to be promoted to an inner disciple. But in Chuanxiang cult, the difference in treatment and martial arts between an inner disciple and an outer disciple is too great. Every outer disciple strives to become an inner disciple as their goal. I cannot guarantee that your son-in-law will pass the assessment when he arrives at the incense cult. If he does not pass the assessment, he will have to stay in the incense cult for the rest of his life. Even if he passes the assessment, I cannot guarantee that your son-in-law will still be thinking about your position in Rejuvenation Valley or our family's little Yu. After all, you are not in the incense cult and do not know how great the temptation of being an inner disciple is. Valley Master Nai's face was full of astonishment as he said, I naturally know the difference between your sect's inner and outer sect disciples. Lady Peacock Kong is an inner sect disciple. She is much younger than you, but you still follow her lead and let her be the official envoy. Of course her position is higher than the inner sect disciples. But this is the first time I have heard of this. Let me think about it. In fact, there was no need to think about this. Zhong Xiaohua only wanted to enter the incense cult and everything else had nothing to do with Rejuvenation Valley. Even if Zhong Xiaohua would not come to Rejuvenation Valley, it was still uncertain. But since Manager Yang had said this, if Valley Master Nai did not pretend to think about it, it would seem too fake. Valley Master Nai walked out for a while and returned not long after. His expression was dignified as he said, "Brother Yang, I have already told Little Yu about the key points. Little Yu insists on sending Xiao Yarrow to the incense cult. I think this matter is settled. Brother Yang, please take good care of Xiao Yarrow. Also, when you return to the sect, please take good care of Xiao Yarrow. During his final assessment, please help him if you can and let him return as soon as possible." Manager Yang smiled bitterly. "Brother Nai, what kind of role do you think I have in the sect? Coming out is just a fox borrowing the tiger's might. I have no say in the sect." Valley Master Nai cupped his hands and said, "This old man knows that this matter is very difficult. Brother, please deliver these words to the Hall Master. Rejuvenation Valley will definitely not forget the Hall Master's grace." Manager Yang gritted his teeth and said, "Fine. Since this is the first time Brother Nai has asked me, I cannot refuse you. In any case, this is the last time I will come to Rejuvenation Valley. The matters of Jianghu will have no fate with me in the future. Then, I might as well give Brother face and agree to this matter." After speaking for a long time, Manager Yang finally nodded. Valley Master Nai was overjoyed and hurriedly bowed. He turned his head and shouted, "Little Yu, why haven't you come and thank Uncle Yang?" Nai Chenyu, who was outside the door, heard this and ran in with a face full of joy. She bowed deeply again and repeatedly said, "Thank you Uncle Yang, thank you Uncle Yang." Manager Yang seemed to like Nai Chenyu very much. He chuckled and helped her up, saying, "This girl, what are you thanking me for? Uncle doesn't have anything to help you with. It's just that I don't know whether this is a blessing or a curse. Little Yu, if anything happens to your husband in the future, don't blame me." Nai Chenyu smiled and said, "Niece can't thank Uncle enough. How can I blame you? To be able to cultivate in the aroma cult and become an outer disciple is Big Brother Ren's glory. I thank Uncle Yang on behalf of Big Brother Ren." Hearing this, Manager Yang's heart moved and he asked, "That's right. Little Yu, I've been here for half a day and this matter has been settled. Why hasn't your Big Brother Ren come out and let me take a look? As your uncle, should I help you check this?" Nai Chenyu hesitated for a moment. Big Brother Ren is temporarily not in Rejuvenation Valley. Manager Yang frowned and looked at Valley Head Nai. "The emissary will be leaving Rejuvenation Valley early in the morning tomorrow. If Ren Xiaoyaro is not in Rejuvenation Valley, how will he depart with us?" Valley Head Nai smiled apologetically again. "This is also a difficult matter. However, Nephew Ren will be returning tomorrow night. If it were any other day, we would treat this as a difficult matter. However, this is Brother Yang's last visit to Rejuvenation Valley. If we delay for one more day and allow this old man to perform the duties of a host, I'm sure Lord Kong won't blame us too much." Manager Yang had a bitter smile on his face. Old Brother Nai, this isn't just one difficult task, it's two. It's really one more difficult than the other. The previous task was just to make an exception for my Hall Master, but this time, you're directly looking for Lord Kong. Sigh, if it were any other emissary in the past, it would be extremely difficult to change the time. However, I've followed Lord Kong all the way here and feel that Lord Kong is somewhat different from the other inner disciples. He's very approachable. Anyway, this is also my last trip. Let me talk to Lord Kong tonight. Perhaps there will be some turning point." When Nai Chenyu and Valley Head Nai heard this, they were both overjoyed. Valley Head Nai was beaming with joy. He was about to obtain 5 years' worth of cultivation. How could he not be excited? At this time, Manager Yang spoke again. "However, I can't guarantee whether it will succeed or not. If Lord Kong insists on leaving tomorrow morning, Brother Nai, what you said to me just now would have been in vain." Valley Head Nai nodded and said, "It should be so." Thus, Nai Chenyu retreated. Manager Yang picked up the teacup and drank a mouthful of tea. Unfortunately, before he could swallow the tea, he heard Valley Head Nai say, "Brother Yang, there's still one more thing." Pu Manager Yang immediately spat out the tea in his mouth and his expression changed greatly. -3. Chapter 498. Manager Yang's expression changed greatly. He slammed the teacup on the table and frowned. "Valley Master Nai, You and I have known each other for many years. You must know that I am responsible for these two matters. If the Hall Master or the emissary is unhappy, there is no need to report it to a higher level. Just them alone can consign me to eternal damnation. What you said just now, I only reluctantly agreed because we have known each other for many years and this was the last time I saw you. Don't make things difficult for me again and again. Valley Master Nai heard this and his face became lonely. He said helplessly, Brother Yang, I am not trying to make things difficult for you. Every family has their own problems. Listen to me. Then, he told him about the powerful matter and asked, Chen Xiu's nephew is the first on the left. Does Brother Yang remember him? Manager Yang thought for a moment and said, Yes, I remember him a little. He is above average. Then, he narrowed his eyes and thought for a moment before asking, Brother Nai, are you confident? Valley Master Nai heard Manager Yang call him Brother Nai and his heart was filled with guilt. He said, I have seen this child since he was young. I know him well. Manager Yang sighed and said, Brother Nai, you didn't have to tell me about this matter. My fragrant religion has never tested the medicine boys you send here. We only trust in Rejuvenation Valley's reputation. Since you said it today, it can be seen that you treat me and the fragrant religion with sincerity. I will pretend you didn't say anything. How about it? Valley Master Nai shook his head and said, This is not appropriate. If I could do this, I wouldn't have said this to you. I would have done it behind your back. But this way, I am setting a trap for you and making you take the risk for no reason. If something happens in the future, you will also be guilty of negligence. My idea is that when you arrive at the fragrant religion, you should quietly tell the Hall Master about this matter and let the Hall Master decide how to deal with it. I am doing this for my daughter. Ari, the hearts of parents in the world are pitiful. Manager Yang sighed, Brother Nai, you have to take out the best 100-flower wine from Rejuvenation Valley tonight. Ha 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 ha. Valley Master Nai also laughed loudly. The matter that he had been worried about for months until last night had finally been resolved. How could he not be happy? He then added, like I said before, I've already prepared your portion. However, I don't know if this is the last time you're here. Later, I'll tell them to bring you more of the best 100-flower wine. Good, good, good. Manager Yang smiled and said, This is very good. As he spoke, he took the jade box that Valley Master Nai had just placed on the table and carefully put it into his bosom. He mocked, Hall Master has been thinking about your daylily for more than 10 years and now he finally got what he wanted. If he knew that you gave him a job, I don't know if he should be happy or angry. Valley Master Nai chuckled but didn't say anything. The two drank tea for a while. Valley Master Nai suddenly moved closer to Manager Yang's ear and asked softly, Brother Yang, I've always had a question in my heart that I wanted to ask you. However, I didn't know if I should open my mouth. I've been holding it in for more than 10 years. If I don't ask today, I reckon that I won't have the chance to ask. Manager Yang was surprised and asked curiously, If you have something to ask, just say it. If you feel that it's inappropriate, then it's better not to ask. I reckon that I won't be able to answer you. Valley Master Nai chuckled again. But, if I don't ask, I'll always feel that there's something and my heart won't be at ease. Manager Yang was annoyed, then asked, I'll see if I can answer you. Valley Master Nai raised his eyes and looked around. He whispered, I want to ask, every time your spreading fragrance cult comes to Rejuvenation Valley, why do you always stay in Worry City for a day? Can't you just come directly to my valley? Hearing this, Manager Yang's expression changed. He whispered, Brother Nai, it seems that your curiosity isn't small. Your patience is also very strong. This has been a rule for more than 10 years and you're only asking now. However, I'll pretend that you didn't ask this question. Ari, forget it. Actually, I'm also staying in Worry City with the emissary. I don't know anything. The matters in Worry City are all handled by the inner sect disciples. What they do, I don't know at all. So, whether you ask this question or not is the same. Then he whispered, These matters are related to my cult. When the new manager comes, Brother Nai, don't mention it. You'll get yourself into trouble. Valley Master Nai smiled, Thank you for the reminder, Brother Yang. I'm only asking because of our decades of friendship. Ari, it's my fault for talking too much. If I didn't tell you so much, you wouldn't have caused so much trouble for me. Valley Master Nai shook his head. Even if you didn't say it, you're the most familiar with the spreading fragrance cult. If I don't look for you, who else can I look for? Manager Young laughed. Good. Just based on brother's words, I'm worthy of our many years of friendship. Good. It's getting late and the banquet is ready. Brother, when do you think we'll start? Manager Young thought for a moment and said, Master Kong doesn't like too many people. I don't think she'll attend this banquet. Then he waved his hand and said, forget it. I'll do it to the end. Brother Nai, you wait here. I'll go ask Master Kong and explain this matter to her. That way, you and I can have a drink to our heart's content. Valley Master Nai was overjoyed when he heard this. However, he whispered, Brother Yang, this is the first time I've seen Master Kong. What hobbies does she have? My Rejuvenation Valley can prepare some gifts. Manager Yang waved his hand and said, that won't be necessary. Master Kong is an inner sect disciple. She has always been noble and unsullied. She doesn't care about worldly affairs. If you give her something, she'll be disgusted. You just need to pick up some fruits and vegetables from Rejuvenation Valley and give them to her. Valley Master Nai smiled and said, then I'll do as Brother Yang says. I'll first have the servants prepare the banquet and then give the fresh and precious fruits and vegetables to Master Kong. Manager Yang nodded and walked out of Rejuvenation Hall. He had someone take him to see Master Kong. Seeing Manager Yang leave, Nai Chenyu couldn't wait to run into Rejuvenation Hall and asked, Father, has everything been arranged? Valley Master Nai wiped the sweat off his forehead and let out a long breath. He said as if a heavy burden had been lifted off his shoulders, 10 stops have become 9 stops. Nai Chenyu asked curiously, what's the remaining 1 stop? Valley Master Nai didn't answer directly. Sigh, at that time I was thinking too lightly. I thought that with my friendship with your Uncle Yang, I would definitely be able to help Nephew Ren. Now it seems that it's not that simple. If it wasn't for the fact that this was your Uncle Yang's last time in Jianghu, I don't think he would have agreed. Nai Chenyu also had a lingering fear. Yes, Father. We didn't think that it would be so difficult to be an outer sect disciple in spreading fragrance cult. If you're not an outer sect disciple, you can't even take half a step out of spreading fragrance cult. We were so naive to think that the Hall Master of Spreading Pill Hall would let go of him. We almost couldn't justify ourselves. Haha, it's also Nephew Ren's good fortune that allowed him to encounter such a fortuitous encounter. Otherwise, it would be unimaginable. I reckon that Nephew Ren would definitely complain that we left him in this valley for many days. Nai Chenyu shook her head, he won't. Brother Ren is the most considerate. If he knew of our difficulties, he would definitely understand. Yes, you're right. However, what we need to consider now is whether Lady Kong will agree to stay in our Rejuvenation Valley for 1 more day tomorrow. If she can't. Nai Chenyu was resolute and decisive. If she can't, let Brother Ren leave with Uncle Yang tomorrow. Although the Crimson Flame Pill is important, Brother Ren's matter is even more important. We can't delay other people's matters because of our selfish desires. Valley Master Nai smiled and said, that's what I think too. Nai Chenyu blinked her eyes. Brother Ren still has a set of ingredients for the Crimson Flame Pill. If he can't make it this time, he will definitely send Father a set of completed pills next time. Don't you think so? You little girl, don't say these words. It makes it seem like your father is scheming against others. That's right. This is an open conspiracy. Why can't I say it? Okay. An open conspiracy is an open conspiracy. You should quickly take a look at the fruits and vegetables for Lady Kong. Serve her well. It's better than any open conspiracy. Nai Chenyu smiled in response and ran out cheerfully, leaving behind Valley Head Nai's loving gaze. Just as Nai Chenyu walked out, the anxious Nai Chenxiu and Chong Sheng walked in. At the same time, at Lord Kong's place, in a clean and simple hall, Lord Kong did not sit on a chair. Instead, he laid out a huge white blanket in the hall and placed a low tea table on top of the blanket. Lord Kong simply sat on the blanket and from time to time, he would pick up the fruits on the tea table to taste. Manager Yang stood respectfully at one side and told him in detail about how Valley Master Nai wanted his son-in-law to act as a medicine boy. However, Lady Kong said lazily, "This is your pill expansion hall's matter. It has nothing to do with me. Whether you did the right thing or not will be decided by your hall master. Why do you need to report it to me?" Soon after, he seemed to have realized something. Oh, according to the tip-off, his son-in-law is only 14 or 15 years old. However, his body is as tall as an adult. "You're afraid that I will find out something and question you." Manager Yang smiled and said, "You are the emissary of our sect. These matters must be reported to you." Lady Kong waved his hand, "I don't have that kind of interest. Just do what you need to do." Oh, that's right. This young man actually had the ability to defeat Soaring Dragon Mountain Villa's Sword Prince. His martial arts are also quite good. "Call him over and let me see." Manager Yang secretly complained, "I'll let Lady Kong know that the martial arts of the people of Jianghu are just three-legged cats. Their fame is all exaggerated. They can't even compare to our outer sect disciples. Think about it. A 14 or 15-year-old youth can defeat the famous sword prince of Jianghu. How much true martial arts do you think this sword prince has? This Ren Xiaoyaro also comes from a nameless small sect. How can his martial arts be compared to Lady Kong's discerning eyes?" Hearing this, Lady Kong frowned. -3. Chapter 499. Hearing this, Lord Kong frowned and laughed. "Hehe, I forgot that the outer disciples of the cult of fragrance are all powerful in the pugilistic world. What's there to see about a minor disciple from a nameless sect? Alright, I'm not going. Manager Yang secretly let out a sigh of relief and smiled apologetically. "However, I did come here to discuss something with Lord Kong." "Speak." Manager Yang couldn't see Lord Kong's face hidden behind the veil, nor did he know her emotions. He only probed, "This is Lord Kong's first time out, but it's my last time out. I have been friends with the Valley Lord of Rejuvenation Valley for nearly 40 years. When he heard that I wouldn't be coming to Rejuvenation Valley in the future, he was very sad and insisted on making me stay here for one more day. I couldn't reject his good intentions, so I came to discuss with Lord Kong. I hope that you can empathize with Valley Lord Nai and my feelings. Moreover, this is your first time out. The scenery of Rejuvenation Valley is beautiful, and it's like spring all year round." Lord Kong didn't wait for him to finish and waved her hand, no need to say more. No matter how beautiful the scenery of Rejuvenation Valley is, how can it compare to the cult of fragrance? Although it's like spring all year round, how can it compare to our cult of fragrance? Hearing this, Manager Yang's heart shrank and he thought to himself, "Marshal Nai, oh Marshal Nai, it's not that I don't want to help you. Looking at the situation, I can only let you down." Manager Yang was about to speak when he heard, "Although this is my first time, it doesn't mean there won't be a second time. It doesn't matter if I don't see Rejuvenation Valley. However, you won't have a next time. Moreover, 40 years, how many 40 years does a person have? Seeing that you have a close relationship with Valley Lord Nai, it's a happy thing in your life to have such an old friend. If I were to stop you for no reason, wouldn't I be too inconsiderate? Let your hall master say I'm petty. Go. You'll be leaving early in the morning the day after tomorrow. Don't forget." Manager Yang was overjoyed when he heard this and bowed. "Thank you, Lord Kong." Lord Kong waved her hand, indicating for him to leave. Seeing Manager Yang leave excitedly, Lord Kong murmured, 40 years, it's enough to have one confidant." Her tone was incomparably lonely. Inside the Rejuvenation Hall, Valley Master Nai looked at Nai Qianxiu and Chong Sheng, who rushed in with a cold expression. Seeing this, Nai Qianxiu didn't care. She walked forward and asked, "Father, has nephew Chong Sheng's matter been settled?" Valley Master Nai coldly looked at them and didn't hide anything. "It's already done. Your Uncle Yang agreed to take him in as a medicine boy." Hearing this, the two of them were overjoyed. "Thank you, Father, for your help." Valley Master Nai nodded. "Qian Xiu, Chong Sheng, this is the first and last time. Remember this. Remember, Father. Something like this will never happen again." Valley Master Nai continued, Although I have seen their strength since I was young, it was not raised by Rejuvenation Valley. I have already told your Uncle Yang that if he finds anything strange, he will immediately deal with it according to the sect rules of the fragrant religion. There is no need to consider Rejuvenation Valley's reaction. When Cheong Sheng heard this, his expression changed slightly. Father-in-law, please rest assured. Cheong Cheong is the boy's nephew. How could the boy push him into the fire pit? I'm sure nothing will happen. That's good. From now on, Cheong Cheong is a medicine boy of the fragrant religion. You can't casually see him anymore. Yes, father. Daughter understands. The husband and wife looked at each other and left Rejuvenation Hall together. Valley Master Nai's expression was somewhat cold. Looking at the two of them leaving, his eyes flickered. It was unknown what he was thinking about. When the two of them disappeared, he gritted his teeth and seemed to have made a decision. He put down the teacup in his hand and got up to leave quickly. But halfway there, he patted his forehead and turned to sit back in his chair. His expression was relaxed. Valley Master Nai made a hesitant appearance in Rejuvenation Hall. In Rejuvenation Valley's inner pill room, Zhong Xiaohua was still leisurely. When he saw the messenger of the fragrant religion arrive, he knew that his time in Rejuvenation Valley was limited. Whether or not Valley Master Nai could persuade the fragrant religion to take him in as a medicine boy, he would have to leave Rejuvenation Valley with them. And the only thing he had promised Rejuvenation Valley was the crimson flame pill in front of him. Therefore, he became more diligent and wanted to refine the pill as soon as possible. After all, according to Valley Master Nai's words, the fragrant religion would set off tomorrow morning as usual. Unfortunately, the way of alchemy was to progress step by step. Any shortcuts would not work. The jade slip recorded that the crimson flame pill needed 13 days to gestate. That was not even half a day less. At least, in Zhong Xiaohua's consciousness, he could vaguely see the primordial qi brewing in the pill that was gradually taking shape. There was also a little bit of bright starlight. All of this showed that the crimson flame pill had not been successfully gestated. Zhong Xiaohua was still scratching his head about this starlight. He thought hard for a long time but still could not figure out the reason. However, the slight movement and arrangement of the starlight faintly matched with the star atlas of the heavenly Tao that he had come into contact with. This was something he had discovered by chance when he was comprehending the heavenly Tao. Therefore, he faintly felt that this starlight only had benefits and no harm. Zhong Xiaohua was about to comprehend the incantation when he felt a movement in his heart. He released his consciousness and saw Nai Chenyu running towards the inner valley with a mixed expression on her face. Sigh. Zhong Xiaohua could not help but sigh and stood up. Nai Chenyu ran very quickly and anxiously. When she reached the alchemy chamber, she was already out of breath. When she saw the door of the alchemy chamber, she couldn't help but stagger and fall forward. Nai Chenyu couldn't help but cry out. But at this moment, a familiar figure appeared at the door of the alchemy chamber. It was Zhong Xiaohua, who she didn't care about. Therefore, at this moment, Nai Chenyu's heart was at peace. Because she knew that her big brother Ren would definitely not let her come to any harm as long as she was in front of him. Sure enough, Zhong Xiaohua seemed to know that Nai Chenyu would fall. The moment she flashed out of the pill room, she immediately sped up and floated towards Nai Chenyu like a floating cloud. At the last moment when Nai Chenyu fell to the ground, she stretched out her hands to support Nai Chenyu. Feeling the warmth of her hands, Nai Chenyu could not help but close her eyes. How she wished that this moment could last forever. However, when Zhong Xiaohua helped her stand steadily, the hands immediately left her. A gentle voice was heard. "Little fishy, are you frightened? Don't be so anxious next time. I'm in the pill room. Where can I go?" "Yes, big brother Ren. You're in the pill room now, but what about in the future? Where will you be in the future? Where can I see you?" Nai Chenyu closed her eyes and let out a silent cry in her heart. Seeing that Nai Chenyu's eyes were still closed and her eyelashes were trembling slightly, Zhong Xiaohua's heart skipped a beat. However, she immediately said softly, little fishy, is there anything you need from me?" Nai Chenyu opened her eyes reluctantly and looked at Zhong Xiaohua with hidden bitterness. She forced a smile and said, Congratulations, Big Brother Ren. Father has already told Uncle Yang of the incense cult about you. He has agreed to recommend you to be a medicine boy in the incense cult. Zhong Xiaohua was not surprised. She nodded and said, then I have to thank Uncle Nai and you, little fishy. Just that, when can I leave? Then, she looked at the pill room behind her and said regretfully, if I leave tomorrow, this batch of crimson flame pills that were about to be refined will all be wasted. Nai Qianyu lowered her head and said, then can Big Brother Ren not go to the incense cult for the sake of pills? Zhong Xiaohua thought for a while and said apologetically, this, if it's something else, maybe it's still negotiable. But for this, I really can't. Nai Qianyu said again, just that. I don't know what will happen in the future. Zhong Xiaohua looked at the azure sky above Rejuvenation Valley and said with disappointment, everything is fleeting. It's better to forget each other in the pugilistic world than to help each other in times of need. After hearing this, Nai Qianyu could no longer hold back. She burst into tears and ran out while covering her face. Seeing that she was far away, she slipped again. This time, Zhong Xiaohua could not help her in time. Nai Qianyu, who had fallen to the ground, got up from the ground. She did not even have time to pat the dirt off her body. She only turned around to look at the lonely figure in front of the pill room. Wiping her tears, she walked away quickly again. Zhong Xiaohua's divine sense followed Nai Qianyu for a long time. Along the way, many disciples of Rejuvenation Valley looked at Nai Qianyu in astonishment and made way for her. However, Nai Qianyu did not notice and walked numbly and blankly towards the peach forest. It was only when Little Orange saw that his miss was acting strangely and ran out of the Peach Blossom Nunnery that Zhong Xiaohua retracted his divine sense. Looking at the fleeting clouds indifferently, Zhong Xiaohua himself could not explain the feelings in his heart. If he said that he only treated Nai Qianyu as a little girl and did not have any other thoughts in his heart, even Zhong Xiaohua himself would not believe it. However, if he had to promise this little girl something, say some ambiguous words, or paint a beautiful picture, Zhong Xiaohua was unwilling. He really did not know what he should do. After leaving for so many years, he did not know when he could return to Rejuvenation Valley again. Instead of giving her some hope, he might as well give her some despair. Was this the legendary fate? Zhong Xiaohua rubbed his nose. He really wanted to ask himself and figure out the answer. Unfortunately, he was only a boy in the spring and the rainy season. How could he tell the difference between the two? Perhaps after a long time, when he looked back and recalled the dreamlike memories, he would be able to realize the true feelings within. However, at that time, how many feelings were still waiting? How many feelings were there to look forward to? Nai Qianyu was brought back to the Peach Blossom Nunnery by Little Orange. Without waiting for Little Orange to say anything, Nai Qianyu threw herself onto the bed and buried her head in the blankets. She cried out without hesitation, as if she wanted to vent all the feelings that she had suppressed for such a long time. No matter how Little Orange tried to persuade or comfort her, it was of no use. For a moment, Little Orange panicked. He warned the others and went straight to Rejuvenation Hall. Vote for me. If you want to know what happened next, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author. Support the original reading. -3. Chapter 500. Inside Rejuvenation Hall, Valley Head Nai, who had already made up his mind, was leisurely sipping his tea. From time to time, he would instruct his disciples to arrange a banquet for the evening. Not long after, Manager Yang returned with a joyful expression. With just one glance, Valley Head Nai's heart bloomed with joy. Of course, the word joy was clearly written on his face. Valley Head Nai didn't stand on ceremony. He went forward and cupped his hands. Brother Yang is truly a blessed general. Everything that falls into your hands is easily solved. Many thanks, many thanks. Manager Yang smiled. It's all because Master Kong sympathizes with the elderly. He knew that us old brothers wouldn't have a chance to meet again in the future, so he agreed without hesitation. If it was that cold-faced fiend from last time, no matter how much I begged, it would be impossible. Valley Head Nai was surprised. Is it Master Yu who came last time? That is true. This old man wanted to pay his respects, but he didn't pay any attention to me. I only hurriedly stayed here for a few minutes. I couldn't even spend the night here, so I left the valley in the dark. Ari, this old man was in a hurry that time and only allowed you to bring a few jars of 100-flower wine. It didn't even satisfy your craving. Haha, Manager Yang was in a great mood. Let's not talk about him. Let's go. Old brother Nai, has your banquet been set up? The accompanying brothers have all come because of your reputation. No problem. Rejuvenation Valley doesn't have much to flatter the fragrant cult. This wine is enough to satisfy them. It's been a long time since I've heard old brother Nai say such vulgar words. I thought you had changed after becoming a valley head. Just as they were talking, they heard hurried footsteps outside. When they raised their heads, they saw Little Orange running over in a hurry. Seeing Manager Yang and Valley Head Nai, he immediately bowed and looked like he wanted to say something. Valley Head Nai frowned and said, "Little Orange, is something the matter?" Little Orange looked at Valley Master Nai and then glanced at Manager Yang. He said in a low voice, "Valley Master, young Miss just returned to Peach Blossom Temple crying. Her body was covered in mud and she seemed to have fallen. When she returned to her room, she threw herself onto the bed. No matter what I said, she wouldn't listen." Hearing this, Manager Yang no longer had any doubts about the relationship between Zhong Xiaohua and Nai Qianyu. Most of his doubts about Zhong Xiaohua entering the fragrant cult had been eliminated. Wasn't Nai Qianyu's reaction a typical example of a lover going on a long journey and being reluctant to leave? When he asked her in Huichun Hall just now, he was already hesitant. Now that he thought about it carefully, how could he not be heartbroken when the person in his heart would not come back for many years? Manager Yang looked at Valley Head Nai and patted his shoulder. "Old brother, it's better if you go comfort your darling. Tell your niece that Uncle Yang promised her that he would take care of her lover after entering the fragrant cult. Let that Ren Xiaoyaro enter the outer sect as soon as possible and step into Jianghu." Valley Head Nai frowned. He already had a plan in his heart. He gave Little Orange a look and shook his head. "Forget it, Brother Yang. We're all experienced people. This young man's matter should be handled by the young man. If an old man like me goes, how can I persuade him? It's better to let the girl calm down and think about Xiao Yaro's future. When Ren Xiao Yaro returns to the valley tomorrow, let him persuade her." Little Orange listened to Manager Yang and Valley Head Nai's words and understood a lot. She knew why her young miss was crying and the stone in her heart was finally put down. However, she was only a servant girl of Huichun Valley. Even though she was as close as sisters with Nai Qianyu, this was the first time she heard that Zhong Xiaohua was going to pass on the fragrant cult. Unknowingly, the back of a deity wielding a sword that was hidden somewhere in her heart suddenly became incomparably large. Could it be that she would never see it again? When Manager Yang heard this, he smiled and said, "Brother Nai is quite open-minded. You're right. Children have their own blessings. If you meddle too much, it may not be a good thing." These words had a double meaning and were precisely what Manager Yang wanted to knock Valley Head Nai down. Valley Head Nai chuckled, "That's right. When it's time to let go, one should let go. This old man also needs to slowly let go. Let's go, Brother Yang. Today, us old brothers must not rest until we're drunk." "Good, good, good." Manager Yang laughed loudly. As they spoke, the two were about to walk out of Huichun Hall. Valley Head Nai saw that Little Orange was still standing there with a somewhat dazed expression. He couldn't help but ask curiously, "Little Orange, is there anything else?" Little Orange seemed to wake up from a dream. "No, nothing, Master." "Oh, that's good. Go back and talk to Little Yu. It's only a few years. Her Uncle Yang has already agreed to help her Dage Ren come back earlier. Also, when you see Ren Xiaoyaro tomorrow, tell him to quickly come and greet Uncle Yang." "Yes, Master." Little Orange bowed and quickly left. Manager Yang waved his hand and said, "Love is important. When that good son-in-law of yours comes back, you should go and see Little Yu first." Ha. Valley Head Nai laughed and pulled on Manager Yang's sleeve, quickly walking out of Huichun Hall. Valley Head Nai seemed to have laughed too much today. That was because anyone who achieved their wish of many days, their wish of many years, would not be able to keep their mouth shut. Especially, perhaps tomorrow, or perhaps the day after tomorrow, his power would increase by 5 years. The night in Huichun Valley was very beautiful. The crescent moon hung lightly in the sky and the comfortable breeze occasionally brought the fragrance of the plants. The banquet for the fragrance cult was placed on the lawn in front of Huichun Hall. All the tables were arranged in a large circle and there were several bonfires burning in the middle of the circle. There were also some roasted meat emitting a rich aroma on the bonfires. This strange atmosphere made the people of the fragrance cult feel very novel. Unconsciously, they began to exchange toasts with the disciples of Huichun Valley and put their arms around each other's shoulders. At the 2 tables at the head of the table were Valley Head Nai and Manager Yang. The 2 of them were already tipsy. Manager Yang raised the wine cup in his hand and said, "Elder Brother Nai, I didn't expect that every time I came here, you would have novel things. It really makes me admire and envious. If I could be as free and unfettered as you, I would rather." Valley Head Nai immediately raised his wine cup and clinked it with Manager Yang's, saying, "Younger brother Yang, you can drink more wine, but you can't speak carelessly. This situation is just what the northern nomads are used to, is nothing. Compared to the immortal-like life of your sect, it's too far. Come, cheers." Manager Yang disagreed. The life of an immortal is the life of an inner sect disciple. Seeing this, Valley Head Nai picked up the wine jug again and said with a smile, "Younger brother Yang, come, I'll fill your cup again. Actually, there's an old saying that goes well. Life is like a city. The people who live outside think of ways to get out and the people who live outside also think of ways to get in. Look at my son-in-law and my daughter's nephew. They think of ways to go to your fragrance cult and become medicine boys. And you envy the freedom of my Huichun Valley. Who do you think is right and who is wrong?" Ha ha ha, Manager Yang couldn't stand it anymore and laughed loudly. "Older brother Nai, your analogy is too vivid. Who can you blame? People's desires are endless. After getting what's in front of you, you still think about the future. You're always chasing after it. That's all that's right. Today there's wine and today we're drunk. Who cares about tomorrow's worries? Come, younger brother Yang, drink. Not far from their seats, Nai Chenyu sat alone with Little Orange beside her. Hearing her father's words, Nai Chenyu looked at the laughing crowd and the burning bonfire. She couldn't help but be dazed. That's right. Since you envy the life in the city, then you have to think of ways to get into the city. If you can't get into the city, then you'll never know the hustle and bustle of the city. Maybe, Little Orange didn't know what her young miss was thinking and watched with worry. The divine sense circling around Nai Chenyu also didn't know what she was thinking and observed for a long time. It wasn't until the night gradually darkened that the divine sense retracted. In the pill room, Zhong Xiaohua retracted her divine sense and frowned slightly. She seemed to be deep in thought. In the afternoon, Nai Chenyu came over to report. She only briefly mentioned that he could spread the news of the incense order. She didn't explain anything else in detail. Zhong Xiaohua thought that Valley Head Nai would come over to take a look at the refining of the Crimson Flame pill. She would also tell him about the problem of setting off tomorrow or the day after. But even when night fell and bonfires were lit in the outer valley, there was still no sign of anyone. Zhong Xiaohua couldn't help but release her divine sense early and quietly observe everything in the valley. She didn't know if it was because she wanted to find out about the incense cult's movements or because she was worried about Nai Chenyu. She couldn't hear the conversation between Valley Head Nai and Manager Yang. However, looking at Valley Head Nai's happy expression, he must have solved the problem of the Crimson Flame pill being one day later than the incense cult. The incense cult wouldn't set off immediately tomorrow morning. However, seeing Nai Chenyu's absent-minded appearance, Zhong Xiaohua couldn't help but feel a slight pain in her heart. Thinking back to the past when Nai Chenyu was like a happy skylark jumping around her, it was such a good feeling. Could it be that she already had this little girl-boy's figure in her heart? Zhong Xiaohua didn't understand. Just as she was thinking, she suddenly heard footsteps. Zhong Xiaohua frowned. What was going on tonight? Previously, as long as someone came near, she would feel it. Now that this person had obviously walked to the door, she only heard the footsteps. Zhong Xiaohua didn't have time to hide the medicinal liquid in the pill furnace and stood up to greet the person. The person who walked briskly into the pill room was none other than the other person who was very concerned about the crimson flame pill, Elder Zhong. Seeing Zhong Xiaohua coming out to greet him, Elder Zhong was a little embarrassed. Ren Xiaoxia, this old man had a lot of things to do and didn't have the time to come and take a look. How is the refining of the crimson flame pill? Zhong Xiaohua snickered in her heart. It wouldn't be good if you came. I can't wait for you to have more things to do. Hence, she smiled, everything is normal. Elder Zhong, don't worry. Wait until noon tomorrow. If there are no accidents, you will be able to see the crimson flame pill. Hehe, Elder Zhong, you must remember to leave 3 pills for me first. Elder Zhong waved his hand. Am I a stingy person? How can I go back on my word when I've already promised you? Furthermore, aren't the pills still in your hands? Oh, right, let me take a look at the refining situation. I haven't seen it for the past few days, so I don't know if there are any changes. Finishing his words, he walked towards the pill furnace. P.S. Thank you for everyone's opinions. I have seen them all. I am very grateful for everyone's tolerance. Also, I will update normally during the spring festival. However, there are times when I can't go online. I will write in advance and set it to auto-update. The time is usually set at 9 o'clock and 8 p.m. This way, there won't be any book review reward for automatically updating chapters. Finger mentioned this last time. Of course, if I can go online, I will update in advance. Maybe I will upload 2 chapters at a time. I wish everyone a happy spring festival in advance. -3. Chapter 501. Inside the cauldron, the spherical medicinal liquid was quietly suspended in mid-air. The essence inside was slightly rotating, and the starlight that was almost visible to the naked eye clearly showed that this was no ordinary alchemy technique. Seeing that Elder Zhong was about to walk to the cauldron, how could Zhong Xiaohua let him see all this? She immediately called out to him, Elder Zhong, please wait. When Elder Zhong heard this, he turned his head in puzzlement and asked curiously, Ren Xiaoxia, is there something wrong? Zhong Xiaohua smiled and pointed at the cauldron. Elder Zhong, don't get too close to the cauldron. This is the crucial time for the pill to be incubated. The temperature inside the cauldron needs to be stable. If you get too close, it may affect the surrounding temperature. If you affect the surrounding temperature, it may affect the temperature inside the cauldron. If, after saying a few ifs, Elder Zhong immediately took a few steps back. When he was in front of Zhong Xiaohua, he asked cautiously, is this distance enough? Seeing Elder Zhong's cautious manner, Zhong Xiaohua was overjoyed in her heart. She only nodded solemnly, Ian, this is for the best. Don't come too close. If Elder has any questions, feel free to ask me. Elder Zhong was depressed and thought, I didn't see anything. From the time you put in the medicine until now, I only saw the medicinal soup at the bottom of the cauldron. What questions can I have? After racking his brain for a while, Elder Zhong hesitated and said, this crimson flame pill, how many years can it increase one's cultivation? Zhong Xiaohua was stunned. She really didn't think about this question. In her jade scroll, she only talked about the effects of the meridian soothing pill, which was to nourish the meridians. How could it increase one's cultivation? Even the scroll that Elder Zhong gave her didn't explain it clearly. Zhong Xiaohua shook her head and said, Elder Zhong, I really can't answer this question. The scroll that you gave didn't mention it. Where do you want me to find it for you? Hehe, don't worry about it. As long as it can increase one's cultivation, it's fine. Our Rejuvenation Valley has spread word of mouth that it can increase one's cultivation by 5 years. Furthermore, it's good for the meridians. In the future, cultivation will be twice the result with half the effort. Zhong Xiaohua nodded and said inwardly, I don't know if my internal energy can increase, but if it is beneficial to my meridians, then it is true. Then he said, Elder Zhong, although I don't know how many years of cultivation it can increase, but if you compare it with other medicinal pills that you know the effects of, wouldn't you have a better idea? Other medicinal pills? Elder Zhong smiled and said, Ren Xiaoxia, it's easy for you to say that. You're still talking about other medicinal pills that can increase one's power. This old man doesn't dare to boast. Other than my Rejuvenation Valley's Crimson Flame Pill, the medicinal pills that can increase one's power in this world are really— Zhong Xiaohua thought he was going to say no, but Elder Zhong changed the topic and said, it's really very little. Zhong Xiaohua shrugged her shoulders and said, after all, they do exist. Since Rejuvenation Valley is famous for its medicinal pills, they must know about it. Won't we know if we compare them horizontally? Elder Zhong still shook his head. The pill recipe is also incomplete. Those things are in the hands of the Daylin Temple, Fragrance Cult, and the former Misty School. How could my Rejuvenation Valley know about it? Besides, even if we have the pill recipe, what can we do? As the saying goes, a clever housewife can't cook without rice. Without medicinal herbs of sufficient age, it's also difficult to successfully refine this medicinal pill. Zhong Xiaohua also nodded. If Rejuvenation Valley doesn't have crimson pearl grass and scarlet flame grass, it's indeed impossible to refine this crimson flame pill. At this moment, Elder Zhong's face was full of yearning as he said, according to Rejuvenation Valley's early records, several hundred years ago, a medicinal pill called Qi-generating pill appeared in Jianghu. It's a spiritual medicine that can increase one's power. A single Qi-generating pill can increase one's power by 30 years. It's said that at that time, a reign of terror was set off in the entire Jianghu. Many famous Jianghu experts died because of this. Qi-generating pill? Zhong Xiaohua couldn't help but call out. This name seemed extremely familiar. Which jade slip did she see it in? When Elder Zhong heard Zhong Xiaohua call it out, he wasn't surprised. That's right, it's the Qi-generating pill. Presumably, you've also heard of this legendary miraculous medicinal pill. However, not only has the medicinal pill already disappeared, even the pill recipe has long been lost. I've only heard that it contains dragon beheading grass, peacock grass, and other main ingredients. However, this old man has only heard of the name of these main ingredients. I've never seen a picture of them. In the ancient records passed down from Rejuvenation Valley, it's only mentioned slightly and simply didn't go into detail. Presumably, only in the super-large sects that have been passed down for 10,000 years like the aroma-spreading sect can we find some clues. Dragon beheading grass? Peacock grass? Zhong Xiaohua didn't wrinkle her brows. She didn't seem to see these two medicinal herbs in the jade slip. However, shortly after, Zhong Xiaohua also felt at ease. The number of medicinal herbs recorded in the 100 Herb Compendium was innumerable. How could she remember them all? In the future, when she had time to carefully look at them, perhaps they would be useful. Seeing Elder Zhong speak for a long time, Zhong Xiaohua smiled and said, although scarlet flame grass and crimson pearl grass aren't as rare as dragon beheading grass and peacock grass, they are still considered spiritual herbs. Moreover, they also have a medicinal age of 100 years. They aren't necessarily inferior to the Qi-generating pill. If we can successfully refine them tomorrow, after you and Valley Head Nai take them, you'll naturally know their effects. Right now, it's also useless to make wild guesses. Elder Zhong reluctantly looked at the pill furnace above the earth fire and said with a bitter smile, actually, these 5 years of cultivation might not have had much of an effect on me. However, to be able to personally see and personally take the spiritual herbs described in the jade slip, this old man, can die in peace. As he finished speaking, Elder Zhong somewhat didn't choose his words carefully. Zhong Xiaohua actually understood these words. As the ancients said, hearing about it in the morning and dying in the evening, it was nothing more than this. To be able to personally experience the feeling of yearning for even in one's dreams was much more important than gaining a few years of cultivation for no reason. The two people spoke for a while more before Elder Zhong was about to leave. Zhong Xiaohua warned, Elder Zhong, before noon tomorrow, I will be in this pill room watching over the medicinal pills. I need absolute silence and don't let anyone disturb me. It's best that you and Valley Head don't wait in front of the pill room. Right now, there are many people from the incense cult in our Rejuvenation Valley. If we pay too much attention, it's hard to avoid attracting their attention. Elder Zhong wouldn't want them to also know that Rejuvenation Valley has the Crimson Flame Pill, right? Elder Zhong nodded and said, Ren Xiaoxia is right. We definitely won't come before noon tomorrow. Valley Head and I will wait in my pill room. If you succeed in refining, then come directly to the pill room to find us. What do you think? Zhong Xiaohua smiled and said, that's how it should be. Thus, Elder Zhong left with a smile on his face. Zhong Xiaohua set up a restriction on the pill room and sat cross-legged in front of the pill furnace. She carefully inserted the necessary spells and carefully observed the changes in the medicinal pill. Deep into the night, she finally inserted the spells. Zhong Xiaohua held the Vitality Stone in her hand and prepared to cultivate the Carefree Heart Sutra. Before she closed her eyes, she still looked worriedly at the medicinal liquid in the pill furnace that was gradually slowing down. This was already the last night, she hoped that nothing would go wrong. Very quickly, starlight shone into the pill. The specks of starlight within the pill became even more resplendent in this dense cluster of starlight. From time to time, it would absorb even more starlight. However, in the end, the medicinal liquid gradually stopped spinning. The outer layer of the Crimson Flame Pill's array was formed and the starlight could no longer penetrate it. In the scorching hot pill furnace, under the invisible starlight, the huge medicinal pill quietly floated there, motionless. After a long time, the sky gradually brightened. Zhong Xiaohua suddenly opened her eyes and hurriedly looked at the medicinal pill in the pill furnace. Seeing that the medicinal pill was motionless, she was shocked. When she released her divine sense, she could only see that the vitality emitted by the medicinal pill was already weak and was gradually decreasing. Only then did she relax. It seemed that the pill was about to be successfully nurtured. Nothing strange happened last night. Zhong Xiaohua was too worried about the Crimson Flame Pill in the pill furnace. After removing the restrictions in the pill room, she only practiced the Fist of the North Star 12 times at the entrance of the pill room before immediately returning to the pill furnace. She didn't even take a single step away from it. She didn't even comprehend the heavenly Tao or the mantra. She only released her divine sense and observed carefully, afraid that something would go wrong at the last step. Time passed very quickly, but also very slowly. This morning, Zhong Xiaohua lost the patience that a Qi practitioner should have as an immortal cultivator. She actually began to quietly pace in front of the pill furnace. Just as Zhong Xiaohua was about to lose her composure, a series of footsteps rang out from outside the pill room. Zhong Xiaohua was shocked. She had already warned Elder Zhong not to disturb her today. Why was there someone outside the pill room? Zhong Xiaohua frowned and released her divine sense. However, she was rather surprised when she saw the scene outside the pill room. The person outside the pill room wasn't Valley Head Nai, nor was it Elder Zhong, nor was it anyone from Rejuvenation Valley. Instead, it was a woman with a veil on her head. Beside her was a short and stout man. Behind them were several men and women dressed in martial attire. Zhong Xiaohua had seen the short and stout man last night. He was the one who had accompanied Valley Head Nai at the banquet. The woman was also the one who had given orders in the Cult of Fragrance's caravan last night. Zhong Xiaohua understood that this woman should be the emissary of the Cult of Fragrance, and this short and stout man should be the manager Yang that Nai Chenyu had mentioned. Sure enough, Manager Yang smiled obsequiously and pointed at the pill room where Zhong Xiaohua was. He said something to the woman, and the woman nodded from time to time. Her expression couldn't be seen under the veil. Then, without waiting for Manager Yang to finish speaking, she raised her head to look ahead and walked away. She didn't seem to be too interested in Manager Yang's introduction. Manager Yang was surprised and immediately followed her eagerly. He pointed at the herb garden in front of them and explained something. Once they were far away, Zhong Xiaohua retracted her divine sense. She was rather worried about how she would deal with the emissary and Manager Yang if they barged into the pill room. When she turned her attention to the pill furnace, she suddenly realized that she had been thinking too much. She had long lost the calmness and composure that a pill master should have. If it wasn't for the disturbance of the people from the Cult of Fragrance, she might have destroyed this cauldron of pills. Immediately, Zhong Xiaohua sat down cross-legged. Not long after, her eyes, nose, and heart were empty. If you want to know what happened next, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author. Support the original reading. -3. Chapter 502. Not long after, a strong medicinal fragrance wafted out of the cauldron and then disappeared. Zhong Xiaohua knew that the 13-day pill incubation was complete. She immediately stood up from the futon and used her divine sense to enter the cauldron. She replayed the method of pulling out the pills in her mind. Then, she stretched out both hands and moved her 10 fingers, slowly and rhythmically forming hand seals. In a short while, the hand seals were formed. Without hesitation, Zhong Xiaohua sent the hand seals into the cauldron. Then, her hands did not stop and continued to send out the remaining hand seals. Thus, the number of pills in the cauldron increased from 1 to 2, then from 2 to 3, until 8 pills were pulled out of the cauldron. Looking at the remaining medicinal liquid, Zhong Xiaohua knew that although there was a lot of medicinal liquid left, she could only pull out 1 more pill. It was impossible to pull out another crimson flame pill. However, when he cast the last spell, the 9th crimson flame elixir was pulled out smoothly. However, the remaining medicinal liquid did not disappear mysteriously like when he refined elixirs in the past. Instead, it floated quietly in the cauldron. Hey! Zhong Xiaohua let out a cry of surprise. Could it be that refining the crimson flame pill could break the limit of 9 pills? Very naturally, Zhong Xiaohua sent the last hand seal into the liquid. In an instant, an unbelievable scene happened. When Zhong Xiaohua sent the hand seal into the last liquid, the liquid did not move at all at first. Then, it swelled and flickered as if it was invisible. Just when Zhong Xiaohua thought that it was going to disappear, there was a sudden light crisp sound. It was like a burnt soybean exploding. Suddenly, 6 thumb-sized pills appeared out of thin air and fell to the bottom of the cauldron. Zhong Xiaohua's eyes widened. Those 6 pills were maroon in color. Weren't they the crimson flame pills mentioned in the Rejuvenation Valley's book? Faint Zhong Xiaohua was completely dizzy. Wasn't she refining the Meridian Soothing pill? How did 6 crimson flame pills pop out in the end? However, this was not the time for him to hesitate. When he came to his senses, Zhong Xiaohua hurriedly took out the jade bottle from the money bag and carefully collected the 9 Meridian Nourishing pills with the elixir receiving technique. Then, he cast an enchantment and put it on the shelf in his money bag space. Just when his divine sense was about to withdraw from the space, he inadvertently swept past the bottom of the shelf and saw a few jade bottles casually thrown under the shelf. Immediately, Zhong Xiaohua seemed to have been struck by lightning. Qi-generating pill. He finally remembered. This was the qi-generating pill. It wasn't what he saw from the jade slips, but rather the qi-generating pills that were actually in his money pouch. Without the slightest hesitation, he immediately took out a bottle of qi-generating pills from his money pouch and carefully examined it in his hand. There were 3 small characters on the jade bottle, qi-generating pill. It was written very carelessly and also very casually. It looked like it was not valued at all. However, this was the legendary panacea that could increase one's power that Elder Zhong had mentioned yesterday. Zhong Xiaohua tightly knitted his brows and felt that it was inconceivable. However, when his gaze saw the 6 brownish-red crimson flame pills that were quietly lying at the bottom of the pill furnace, he unconsciously had a flash of insight. Previously, he had used yellow essence to refine the fasting pill, gastrodia flax to refine the blood-replenishing pill, and other medicinal herbs to refine medicinal pills. He had used the immortal Dao technique. The number of pills that were formed were all less than 9. As long as there were more than 9 pills, no matter how many medicinal herbs there were, they would all mysteriously disappear without a trace. However, those were all basic medicinal pills. The Crimson Flame pill was the first type of low-level medicinal pill that Zhong Xiaohua had refined. It also seemed to be unable to escape the shackles of 9 pills. However, the medicinal strength of the Crimson Pearlgrass and the Bright Sungrass was very strong. After forming 9 pills, there was still an excess of essence remaining. And this essence formed the Crimson Flame pill that Rejuvenation Valley had mentioned. This crimson flame pill was a byproduct of refining the meridian nourishing pill. Compared to the meridian nourishing pill, this crimson flame pill was naturally the role of a leftover. If it wasn't for the fact that Elder Zhong and Valley Head Nai had repeatedly placed great importance on it, Zhong Xiaohua would definitely have treated it as an ordinary medicinal pill and casually collected it. Using this analogy, the qi-generating pill that Elder Zhong had mentioned, which was the item in Zhong Xiaohua's hand at this moment, was presumably a byproduct of some higher-level medicinal pill. Although it was a panacea to martial artists, it was certainly dispensable to immortals who refined medicinal pills. Therefore, it was so casually named and so casually thrown into a corner of the shelf. After thinking it through, Zhong Xiaohua couldn't help but slightly shake her head. She picked up the jade bottle and gently shook it by her ear, but there wasn't any movement. Could it be that it was empty? Zhong Xiaohua immediately released her divine sense. Fortunately, the restriction on the jade bottle was still there, and the 3 qi-generating pills were still inside the jade bottle. Zhong Xiaohua pursed her lips into a smile, and the jade bottle in her hand disappeared into thin air. Soon after, her gaze landed on the 6 crimson flame pills at the bottom of the pill furnace. Originally, she had been thinking about how to explain the difference between the meridian nourishing pill and the crimson flame pill to Valley Head Nai and Elder Zhong. Now, the crimson flame pill was actually a byproduct of refining the meridian nourishing pill. Did she still need to explain? Even better, the meridian nourishing pill was naturally kept by Zhong Xiaohua herself. She wouldn't leave it for Rejuvenation Valley. This thing was too mysterious. Giving it to them might not be a good thing. She would only give the crimson flame pill to Rejuvenation Valley. It was truly killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Picking up the porcelain bottle that Rejuvenation Valley had prepared earlier, Zhong Xiaohua was just about to put the crimson flame pills inside, but she suddenly remembered that the qi-generating pills were also stored inside the jade bottle. Presumably, this porcelain bottle wasn't good. Thus, Zhong Xiaohua picked up the jade box that originally stored the medicinal herbs on the table. Forming an incantation seal, the 6 crimson flame pills were all stored inside the jade box. Only at this time did Zhong Xiaohua let out a long sigh. In the end, she didn't disappoint everyone and didn't waste 14 days of hard work. This crimson flame pill, the meridian nourishing pill, was successfully refined. Putting the jade box into her bosom, Zhong Xiaohua walked out of the pill room. At this time, it was already past noon. Presumably, Valley Master Nai and Elder Zhong had been waiting anxiously for a long time. Sure enough, seeing Zhong Xiaohua walk into the pill room with a gloomy expression, Elder Zhong and Valley Master Nai, who had been waiting impatiently, felt their hearts skip a beat. They looked at each other and quickly walked up to greet her. Elder Zhong immediately asked, "Ren Xiaoxia, how is the refinement of the crimson flame pill?" Zhong Xiaohua sighed, "Ari, this little nephew's learning isn't proficient." Valley Master Nai was also full of curiosity. However, looking at Zhong Xiaohua's appearance, there must have been a mistake. As a result, he didn't wait for Zhong Xiaohua to finish speaking and said, "Virtuous nephew Ren, if there was a mistake, don't mind it. Even if the refinement failed, didn't you still gain experience? Don't we still have another portion of medicinal herbs? Although there isn't enough time, you can still refine it in Chuanxiong cult. Next time, you will definitely succeed. We will just wait at Rejuvenation Valley for Virtuous Nephew to bring back the crimson flame pill." Hearing this, Elder Zhong's expression also became gloomy. He forced a smile and said, "Yes, Ren Xiaoxia, if it didn't work this time, there will be a next time." Hearing the two talking to themselves to comfort her, Zhong Xiaohua sighed, "Ari, this little nephew's learning isn't proficient. The amount of crimson flame pill I refined is a little too little. Yen, it's all right. It's fine if it's less." The two comforted. But suddenly, the two came to their senses and were pleasantly surprised. "What? Less? That means the refinement was a success." Zhong Xiaohua smiled. "Yes, this little nephew didn't disappoint you. Although the amount refined was small, it was still a success." Elder Zhong smiled. "It's all right. It's all right. As long as the refinement is successful, it's fine. I'll just take a look and don't need to consume it. Let Valley Master consume this pill." This Valley Master Nai was a little hesitant. If he said he didn't want to consume it, it would definitely be a lie. But, then, he gritted his teeth and said, Elder Zhong should consume it. You're old, you may not. I'll wait for virtuous nephew Ren to refine the pill next time. Valley Master. Elder Zhong still wanted to persuade Valley Master Nai. Seeing this, Zhong Xiaohua couldn't help but laugh. She was also touched. These two valued the Crimson Flame pill too much and were worried about their gains and losses. They couldn't wait for her to finish speaking and take her words out of context. Coughing, Zhong Xiaohua smiled and said, Seniors, don't push back and forth. This time, I refined a total of 6 Crimson Flame pills. It's enough for both of you to consume. What? Elder Zhong and Valley Master Nai exclaimed again, 6 pills. Really? Zhong Xiaohua couldn't help but be puzzled. These two were too surprised today. Elder Zhong's eyes were brimming with tears. He walked forward and grabbed Zhong Xiaohua's hand. Ren Xiaoxia, you're really a god. Word of mouth in the valley says that the Crimson Flame pill isn't easy to refine. In the early years, I heard that only 2 pills could be refined in one furnace. You're good, refining 6 pills at once. It's really miraculous. Valley Master Nai also couldn't hide his excitement. Yes, it's really miraculous. Elder Zhong was also beaming with joy and said, according to the previous agreement, Ren Xiaoxia will take 3 pills. Our Rejuvenation Valley still has 3 pills. Valley Master and I will each consume 1. The last one is difficult to handle, so Valley Master will have to make the decision. Valley Master Nai also frowned a little. Yes, it's fine if we don't have one. But it's difficult to handle with only 1 pill. I don't know who to give it to. Elder Zhong thought for a moment, how about I don't consume it either? We don't need any of the older ones. Let's leave it to the younger ones. Let's see who has the best aptitude and has the potential to be nurtured. It's better for them to consume it. Valley Master Nai shook his head, it's only 5 years worth of power. Young people should sharpen themselves more. If they gain some power out of nowhere, it won't be good for their future cultivation. Elder Zhong, seeing the two talking among themselves again, Zhong Xiaohua shook her head. Calm down, calm down. Isn't it just 5 years worth of power? I have a pill with 30 years worth of power in my hands, but I'm not wild with joy. Why are you guys so agitated? Seeing the two discussing, Zhong Xiaohua couldn't help but cough and say, Seniors, it's not 3 Crimson Flame pills, it's 5. The two were stunned and asked curiously, why 5? Then, Valley Master Nai came to his senses and said, don't. We've already agreed that nephew will leave behind 3 Crimson Flame pills. How can we go back on our words? Zhong Xiaohua shook her head, Uncle Nai's words are too serious. I'm only one person. 1 pill is enough. Moreover, I still have other medicinal herbs. I can refine them later. -3. Chapter 503. Zhong Xiaohua's words made Valley Head Nai and Elder Zhong see her in a new light. Valley Head Nai even probed, Nephew Ren, you're spreading the incense cult, aren't you looking for your brother? If he's spreading the incense cult, won't you leave him a Crimson Flame pill? Zhong Xiaohua shook her head and said, didn't I make it clear to Uncle Nai just now? I've only used half of the herbs you gave me. I'll keep the other half. If I need it, I can refine more. Actually, if I didn't need a Crimson Flame pill as a reference, I would have left all 6 Crimson Flame pills for Rejuvenation Valley. Finishing her words, she took out the jade box from her bosom. Seeing the jade box, Valley Head Nai was startled and asked, Nephew Ren, why don't you use a porcelain bottle to store the pills? Zhong Xiaohua smiled and said, since the herbs need to be stored in a jade box, the formed pills need to be stored in a jade box as well. Of course, it's even better that Rejuvenation Valley has a jade bottle. Oh, I see. Valley Head Nai suddenly understood. He had always used a porcelain bottle to store the pills for the sake of saving costs. Now that the Crimson Flame pill was for his own use, of course he would use the best container. Hearing this, Elder Zhong quickly took 2 jade bottles from the side. Zhong Xiaohua didn't stand on ceremony and took one of them and poured a crimson flame pill into it. Then, she handed the jade box and the remaining 5 crimson flame pills into Valley Head Nai's hands. She then plugged the jade bottle and casually put it in her bosom. Valley Head Nai had been talking the whole time, but his eyes never left Zhong Xiaohua. Now that he saw Zhong Xiaohua hand over the crimson flame pill, he was overjoyed. His decades of hope had finally come true today. Valley Head Nai and Elder Zhong both carefully took out a pill from the jade box and carefully examined it in front of their eyes. As they looked, they clicked their tongues in praise. This crimson flame pill was exactly as described in the scrolls. Suddenly, Elder Zhong called out, "Yi, what's going on? There seems to be a bit of light inside the crimson flame pill." Hearing this, Valley Head Nai also carefully examined it. Sure enough, he nodded and said, "Yes, Nephew Ren, there really seems to be a bit of light inside, but it's only seen inadvertently. If you look closely, you won't see it." Zhong Xiaohua was stunned. He immediately thought of the starlight he had seen in the medicinal liquid. He thought to himself, "No way, I can still be seen." So, she still couldn't, but it was a formed pill after all, it was still a formed pill. Zhong still couldn't still couldn't penetrate it. Zhong still a formed pills, AAS still a formed pill for it. When Zhong Xiaohua widened her eyes to take a closer look, it was indeed as Elder Zhong and Valley Head Nai had said, there were traces of light coming out from inside. In an instant, Zhong Xiaohua had a realization. The crimson flame pill had the protection of its outers, so her divine sense couldn't penetrate it. But this light was not restricted by the crimson flame pill's formation, and could freely penetrate it. But thinking about it, it was normal. Light was a naturally born thing, and shouldn't be part of the 5 elements. All formations, at least the ones that Zhong Xiaohua came into contact with, shouldn't be able to stop it. But even if Zhong Xiaohua knew this, what was the use? How was she going to explain it to the two of them? What kind of person was Zhong Xiaohua? What she knew the most was that she didn't know anything. She immediately shook her head like a rattledrum. "This, I don't know. I've followed the steps of refining the crimson flame pill completely without any mistakes. Seniors, just look at the shape of this pill and you should know. As for the light inside, is it from the outside? Or is there no specific record in the scroll?" Valley Head Nai and Elder Zhong looked at each other helplessly. That's right, the scroll only described the appearance, color and effects of the pill, and didn't say anything else. Maybe the predecessors didn't read it carefully? Zhong Xiaohua continued, "Seniors, it's best that you keep the 5 crimson flame pills quickly. If they're exposed for too long, they may lose their medicinal effects." Once she said this, the two of them didn't pursue the matter of the light or the shape. They hurriedly poured the crimson flame pills into the jade bottle, capped it, and carefully hid it in their clothes. After keeping the crimson flame pills, Valley Head Nai asked again, "Nephew Ren, I've already discussed the effects of this crimson flame pill with Elder Zhong, but we didn't have a clue. We can only know after consuming it. But, I still want to ask, is there any special way to consume it, or is there anything to take note of?" Zhong Xiaohua stared blankly and asked curiously, "Uncle Nai, this question is very strange. I've never seen the crimson flame pill before, so how would I know how to consume it?" Elder Zhong smiled, "To be honest with you, Xiaoxia, since you can refine this crimson flame pill, we all feel that you must know how to consume this pill." Zhong Xiaohua suddenly understood, that's right, the Rejuvenation Valley's legendary pill. Even the Rejuvenation Valley themselves don't know how to refine it. You, a person without any reason, can so easily refine it. If you've never refined it before or seen this pill before, even if people think with their feet, they may not believe it. Zhong Xiaohua understood and could only helplessly say, "I won't hide it from you two seniors. This is indeed my first time refining this crimson flame pill, and I don't know how to consume it." At this point, Zhong Xiaohua's eyes lit up. The Jade Scroll casually mentioned the consumption of the Soothing Meridians pill. Because the Soothing Meridians pill was used to nourish and repair the meridians, the medicinal power needed to be sent into the meridians. After consuming the Soothing Meridians pill, one must immediately circulate the mental cultivation method and allow the medicinal power to circulate throughout the meridians in the entire body for the best effect to be achieved. Thus, Zhong Xiaohua pretended to think and said, "Actually, you two seniors are thinking too much. Since it's a pill that increases one's power, it must be related to one's inner strength. As long as you consume it while circulating your inner strength and circulate it a few times, for example, 36 or 72 circulations, it will definitely work." Valley Head Nai and Elder Zhong nodded thoughtfully. They definitely knew this point, but they wanted to know if the creator of the pill had a more pertinent suggestion. Thinking of this, Valley Head Nai couldn't help but touch the jade bottle in his arms. Seeing this, Zhong Xiaohua smiled and said, "Uncle Nai isn't going to consume it right now, is he?" Valley Head Nai smiled bitterly and said, "This crimson flame pill is like a ball of fire in my hands. It burns my heart and I only want to consume it to see its effects. However, the messenger of the fragrant order is currently in Rejuvenation Valley. How can I cultivate in seclusion at this time? Only after I send all of you away will I be able to consume it with peace of mind." Speaking of this, Valley Head Nai suddenly remembered something and said, "Virtuous nephew Ren, I have a matter to entrust to you. I hope that virtuous nephew will agree for the sake of Rejuvenation Valley." Hearing this, Zhong Xiaohua's face became bitter. This accusation was so heavy that it probably wasn't a simple matter. However, he had no other choice and could only brace himself and say, "Please instruct me, Uncle Nai. This nephew will do his best to accomplish it." Valley Head Nai nodded and turned to look at Elder Zhong. He smiled and said, "Elder Zhong, please leave for a moment." Elder Zhong looked at the two strangely and said, Okay, I'll leave now and won't delay your conversation." After saying this, he stood up and left. However, just as Valley Head Nai was about to speak, he heard Elder Zhong say loudly from outside, "Ayo, Manager Yang, how have you been? I haven't seen you in a long time. Is this the messenger of your esteemed sect this year?" When Valley Head Nai heard this, how could he still be bothered to instruct Zhong Xiaohua about matters? He walked out in quick steps. Zhong Xiaohua thought for a moment and also followed him out. Outside the alchemy room, the masked messenger was passing by under the guidance of Manager Yang. He just happened to bump into Elder Zhong walking out of the alchemy room and heard Manager Yang introduce him, "Lord Kong, this is the previous generation elder of Rejuvenation Valley. His surname is Zhong, Elder Zhong." Lord Kong nodded slightly. "Greetings, Elder Zhong." Elder Zhong seemed to be overwhelmed by the favor and hurriedly said, "Greetings, Lord Kong." Lord Kong is in such a good mood to come to the inner valley of Rejuvenation Valley to admire the scenery. As they spoke, Valley Head Nai also walked out and saluted, "Lord Kong, I have some worldly affairs to attend to in the valley and am unable to accompany Lord into the valley. I'm really sorry for that. How does Lord feel about the scenery of Rejuvenation Valley?" Lord Kong raised his head to look at the various medicinal gardens and casually said, "Rejuvenation Valley is indeed unique. Although the space in the valley is small, it can be said to be small. It has all the essentials and the types of medicinal herbs are also extremely complete. It's really not bad." Although her words were directed at Valley Head Nai, her eyes were glancing at the scenery to the side. However, under the veil, how could others know? Valley Head Nai lowered his head and said, "Thank you for your praise, Lord. Compared to your esteemed sect, it's as different as the clouds and mud." As they spoke, Manager Yang's gaze looked behind Valley Head Nai and he said loudly, "Ayo, Valley Head Nai, is this your little Yu's husband? He's indeed a talented person, just like the rumors outside." Of course, it was Zhong Xiaohua who slowly walked out of the pill room. When Valley Head Nai heard this, he immediately said, "Yes, it's my Rejuvenation Valley's future son-in-law. He just came from." At this point, he paused and glanced at Manager Yang before continuing, "He just came from my place to ask Elder Zhong some questions. Come, Xiao Yarrow, greet Lord Kong, the envoy of the fragrant religion. This is Manager Yang that I mentioned to you before. You weren't feeling well yesterday, so I didn't let you greet them. Today, you can make up for it together." Damn, she was suddenly a generation younger. Zhong Xiaohua was helpless and could only go forward. Manager Yang was quite close and Zhong Xiaohua could only greet him first, "Greetings, Manager Yang." Manager Yang looked at him with a smile and really wanted to admire a junior. He said, "Good, good. This child, if it weren't for his tender skin, his body would be like that of an 18 or 19-year-old youth." Immediately, he pulled his hand and pointed at Lord Kong. "Come, let's first thank Lord Kong. If it weren't for her nod, it wouldn't have been easy for you to go to the fragrant religion." Lord Kong's eyes weren't looking at them. When he heard this, he unconsciously frowned and said, "Manager Yang, this is your pill expansion hall's matter, but it's related to." When he said this, he turned his head and saw Zhong Xiaohua in front of him. He couldn't say the rest of his words and stared straight at her without moving for a long time. Chidian. -3. Chapter 504. Peacock retracted her gaze from the herb garden and turned around to look at Zhong Xiaohua as she spoke. The moment Peacock laid eyes on Zhong Xiaohua, she suddenly felt as if everything in the world had disappeared. The only thing left in this world was this man, this ordinary man. Her gaze was deeply attracted to him, like a moth drawn to a flame. All her attention was firmly drawn to him. Thump, thump, thump. Peacock's heart pounded violently, as if she was facing something that she had yearned for day and night, or something that she had been chasing for her entire life. Involuntarily, an unimaginable thought flashed across her mind: "I must have it, I must have it." Then, she involuntarily raised her right hand, as if she wanted to grab hold of Zhong Xiaohua. When Valley Master Nai, Elder Zhong, and the others saw this, their expressions changed drastically. This was because the countless envoys from the spreading fragrance cult were extremely cold. They did not even bother with the Valley Master and elders of the Rejuvenation Valley and would not waste their time on the medicine boy that they were going to choose. Although Zhong Xiaohua's identity was the future son-in-law of the Rejuvenation Valley's Valley Master, he was still only a little medicine boy in the spreading fragrance cult. Peacock's action was extremely strange. When Manager Yang heard Peacock's words, he immediately said respectfully, "Master Kong, you are too kind. You are the envoy this time. If I don't listen to you, who else should I listen to? Come, come, Ren Xiaoyao, come and thank Master Kong for his grace." He lowered his head humbly and then pulled Zhong Xiaohua forward. Only then did he notice Peacock's strange behavior and he was stunned. He reminded, "Master Kong? Master Kong?" Ever since Zhong Xiaohua understood the heavenly Tao, his senses had become sharper. When Peacock saw his strange behavior, he immediately felt it. He immediately released his consciousness and looked through the thin veil. Cough, cough. That's right. What kind of time was it? Why would he still care about being polite? Behind the veil was a delicate and fair face. She had almond-shaped eyes, dark eyebrows, cherry lips, and a jade-like nose. There was also a dignified look in her eyes. Her temperament was incomparably graceful and luxurious, making people not dare to approach her. Zhong Xiaohua was stunned. The emissary of the fragrant religion was actually a young woman in her 20s who was more beautiful than Liu Qian and Ouyang Yang. However, at this moment, her eyebrows were slightly furrowed and her mouth was slightly agape. Her eyes flickered with incomparable astonishment and incomparable, desire. If this gaze was that of a man looking at a beautiful woman, Zhong Xiaohua might not have cared. However, this gaze was fixed on Zhong Xiaohua. Zhong Xiaohua could not help but be alarmed. "Bad vegetable, did you see something wrong?" Zhong Xiaohua secretly complained in her heart. Next, the peacock reached out to grab him. Zhong Xiaohua hurriedly retracted his divine sense. With a thought, he used the incomplete God's traction mantra to conceal his divine sense and immortal Tao cultivation. At this moment, Peacock was also awakened by Manager Yang's words. Only then did she realize that she had lost her composure. She immediately covered it up and pointed at Manager Yang. She said, "This is the Ren Xiaoyao you mentioned yesterday?" Manager Yang did not dare to make any more guesses. He bowed and smiled apologetically. "That's him. He is the son-in-law of Rejuvenation Valley's Valley Master Nai personally selected. Come, Ren Xiaoyao, quickly come and thank Master Kong." Zhong Xiaohua retracted her aura and took 2 quick steps forward. She bowed deeply. "Thank you, Master Kong. I hope that Master Kong will continue to support me in the future. When Peacock looked at Zhong Xiaohua again, she realized that she was no longer as attractive as before. Peacock was puzzled. Hey, what happened just now? Was it an illusion? Suddenly, a sense of embarrassment rose in her heart. Could this be the legendary, seeing? Immediately, her heart was in a mess. How can this be? I have never seen him before. He is just a little medicine boy. What's more hateful is that this Ren Xiaoyaro is the future son-in-law of Rejuvenation Valley. Also, the most hateful thing was that although Zhong Xiaohua bowed respectfully with a proper attitude, Peacock could feel that she had no respect at all. Yes, not even the slightest bit. It must be said that a woman's heart was like a needle in the ocean. Peacock was the same as a goddess. For no reason, Peacock felt a tinge of displeasure. She did not retract her outstretched hand. Instead, she pointed and said, "You are the Ren Xiaoyaro who defeated the Sword Master of Longting Villa and defeated the combined attack of 4 people in the arena?" Zhong Xiaohua replied gently, "I wouldn't dare." That's me. When the word "me" entered her ears, Peacock was even more displeased. She moved her hand and struck out with her palm. "Let me see how good you are at martial arts." Seeing Master Kong's sudden attack, Steward Yang and Valley Master Nai were shocked. They cried out, "Master, please have mercy." But neither of them dared to take a step forward, let alone lend a helping hand. Zhong Xiaohua retracted his spiritual sense. He did not expect Peacock to be in trouble. When he noticed, the white palm was already in front of him. Zhong Xiaohua frowned. Although he could not use his spiritual sense, he could tell that the palm contained an infinite amount of inner energy just by listening to the sound of the wind. Zhong Xiaohua was puzzled. "I didn't offend this Lord Kong. Why is he staring at me the moment we meet? Although I am handsome, you are a woman. You don't have to resort to underhanded means. Besides, you covered your face first and didn't let me see your beautiful face. I didn't even look at you blasphemously. How could you do that?" However, at this moment, Zhong Xiaohua was no longer the same as before. Even if he hastily faced the enemy, he was not afraid. His body did not move, but he raised his left arm, and his palm also straightened, and directly faced the attack. However, just as the true qi entered his palm, he thought in his heart, "This Lord Kong only said that I defeated Longting Villa's Sword Prince, but I can't reveal my true strength. Oh, right. Could it be that this woman actually wants to test my martial arts? What did she see?" So, he immediately simulated the vital energy into inner energy and adjusted the amount of inner energy to be slightly higher than Master Long's. As he spoke, the two palms collided. A powerful wave of inner energy crashed into Zhong Xiaohua's palm. Zhong Xiaohua did not dare to use any more vital energy. He only felt the force of the collision. Zhong Xiaohua's body was sent flying back into the alchemy room behind him. When the two palms collided, Peacock felt the normal amount of inner energy in Zhong Xiaohua's palm. She even felt the warmth in his palm. Her heart was in a mess. She could not control the energy in her palm. The inner energy rushed out like a tidal wave. When Zhong Xiaohua was sent flying, she was startled. She immediately retracted her inner energy. She could not help but cry out, "Ouch." After the cry of ouch, not only did her veil ripple, her feet also moved half a step forward. She had lost her composure once again. But at this time, everyone was looking at the flying Zhong Xiaohua. No one noticed the high and mighty messenger's second loss of composure. Zhong Xiaohua was sent flying in the air. He circulated the vital energy in his meridians and stabilized his body. However, he did not stop immediately. Instead, he used the momentum to fly backwards. The door of Elder Zhong's alchemy room was half closed. Zhong Xiaohua said in his heart, "I'm sorry, Elder Zhong. Tonight, your room is going to leak in." A loud bang was heard. The fragile bamboo door of the alchemy room was shattered into pieces. Zhong Xiaohua did not slow down. He only stopped when a loud bang was heard. "Ren Xiaoxia." Elder Zhong was shocked. He rushed into the alchemy room. Valley Master Nai also took a step forward. But, he looked at Peacock who was standing there quietly. She had regained her composure. Then, He looked at Steward Yang, who was also confused. He finally stopped. Bad luck, really bad luck. Zhong Xiaohua, who was in the alchemy room, was very depressed. I didn't go out for a walk this morning. I didn't hear any crows in the valley. How did I encounter such a thing? That Master Kong looked so beautiful. Why did he hit me so hard? The strength of his palm, how was he trying to test my power? It was more like he wanted me to be injured. He did not know Peacock's emotions. He only thought that Peacock did not hold back. But, when he thought of the word injured, his eyes turned and he quickly bit his tongue. A stream of blood seeped out from the corner of his mouth. At this time, Elder Zhong also rushed into the alchemy room. Seeing the blood at the corner of Zhong Xiaohua's mouth, he said in shock, "Ren Xiaoxia, you're injured?" Zhong Xiaohua looked weak and said, "Sigh, my internal organs were injured by Master Kong." Elder Zhong was also helpless. What could he say? He was just a has-been elder of Rejuvenation Valley. Coming to see Zhong Xiaohua without permission was already his limit. He helped Zhong Xiaohua out of the alchemy room. Everyone present saw the blood at the corner of Zhong Xiaohua's mouth. The people of the fragrant cult were naturally used to seeing this. They did not feel any sympathy. Valley Master Nai asked with concern, "Xiao Yao, how are your injuries?" Zhong Xiaohua shook her head, "It's nothing, just some minor internal injuries." Peacock saw Zhong Xiaohua so weak and seemed to be relieved. But there was another emotion that was worse than relief. That was heartache. Peacock asked coldly, "Ren Xiaoyao, your inner energy is not bad. What kind of martial arts do you practice?" Zhong Xiaohua was stunned and said, "Frenzied Bull's Strength." Frenzied Bull's Strength. Peacock was also surprised. What kind of inner energy is that? Manager Yang immediately explained, "Master Kong, Frenzied Bull's Strength is a common type of inner energy in Jianghu. It is the easiest to learn and will not cause any deviation. Our fragrant cult does not have such a crude inner energy heart technique." "Oh, Frenzied Bull's Strength cannot be a heart technique either." "Oh, I see." Peacock seemed to have come to a realization, but after listening to the explanation, she felt a wave of annoyance in her heart. She waved her hand and said, "Ren Xiaoyao, I was just curious just now. I knew you were the champion of the arena competition, so I wanted to test your martial arts skills. But I was a little reckless and caused you to be injured." She thought for a while and did not say the words of apology. She then took out a small jade bottle and threw it to Zhong Xiaohua, saying, "This is the Yuhuandan pill that we use to heal injuries. Take it and heal yourself." Valley Master Nai and Elder Zhong heard this and their faces turned pale with fright. -3. Chapter 505. Not only were Valley Head Nai and Elder Zhong shocked, even Manager Yang and the rest of the people from the Cult of Incense had looks of envy on their faces. Zhong Xiaohua was also shocked in his heart. He had seen the name of this jade rejuvenation pill in the jade slip, but he had not paid much attention to its effects. However, as long as it was a pill recorded in the jade slip, how bad could it be? Zhong Xiaohua reached out to receive it and bowed, "Thank you for the medicine, Master Kong. I am fine." Peacock saw that Zhong Xiaohua was neither servile nor overbearing and felt much better. She said, "We will be leaving tomorrow morning. Rest well and don't miss tomorrow's journey." After she finished speaking, she turned around and walked away. Manager Yang followed closely behind in astonishment. During this time, he even turned around to look at Zhong Xiaohua in bewilderment. He thought to himself, "This guy isn't the gigolo type. Why did he catch Lord Kong's eye the moment he saw him? Could it be that they have met before? But Master Kong is an outstanding disciple of the inner sect and has never left the Cult of Incense. How could he know this kid from the mountains? Ayo, little you, if my guess is right, your fiancé is going to fly away." After the people from the Cult of Incense left, Valley Head Nai and Elder Zhong turned around. Valley Head Nai was especially concerned, "Nephew Ren, how are your injuries?" Elder Zhong was also indignant, "Master Kong is too much. He was just testing the level of his martial arts. He did not have to be so ruthless." Valley Head Nai shook his head and said, "Who knows? The previous envoys of the fragrant religion were all from the inner sect. All of them were highly skilled in martial arts and their actions were unreasonable. This Master Kong is considered good. Alas, maybe yesterday Manager Yang made a decision on his own and made some decisions which made Master Kong unhappy. Elder Zhong nodded. That's right. Although the matter of letting Ren Baqian enter the incense cult is managed by the Pill Expanding Hall, Master Kong is the envoy this time after all. Manager Yang's report was a little late. Sigh, forget it. As long as Nephew Ren can go, Rejuvenation Valley will have fulfilled our promise to you. Valley Head Nai smiled and said to Zhong Xiaohua. Zhong Xiaohua did not know what was going on. She thought it made sense. She did not know Master Kong and had no reason to find trouble with her. It must be because of the issue of entering the cult of incense. However, Master Kong had no reason to be so surprised to see her. This was something that Zhong Xiaohua could not understand no matter how he thought about it. Valley Head Nai looked at Zhong Xiaohua's mouth and asked again, Nephew Ren, how are your injuries? Do you want to rest in the pill refining room? Soon after, one of them fervently looked at the jade bottle in his hand. Hurry up and take a jade restoration pill. This is a legendary panacea for treating internal injuries. I heard that no matter how serious the injury is, just one pill can completely cure it. You can try it now. Is that so? Zhong Xiaohua was astonished. She had seen everyone's gaze just now and knew that the Yuhuandan pill was not simple. But she did not expect it to be so miraculous. Of course, this is a healing elixir specially used by the inner disciples of the fragrant cult. In the past, I only heard about it from Manager Yang. Even he, the manager of the Pill Repository Hall, has only heard about it and has never obtained it. Ha ha! Zhong Xiaohua smiled and opened the pill of incense. She poured out 2 pills and threw them to Valley Head Nai. Valley Head Nai, please accept them. Treat it as a gift from a junior. Valley Head Nai was caught off guard and caught it in a panic. He was both happy and uneasy. Nephew Ren, this is from Master Kong. Moreover, your injuries. Zhong Xiaohua smiled and wiped the blood from her mouth. She said faintly, it's nothing. I just accidentally bit my lips. Dang dang, dang dang. With 2 crisp sounds, Valley Master Nai and Elder Zhong both fell to the ground. When the 2 got up from the ground, rubbing their heads, Zhong Xiaohua suddenly thought, Uncle Nai, didn't you have something to tell me? Valley Head Nai thought for a moment and said, Nephew Ren, let's go to your pill refining room. The 2 bid farewell to Elder Zhong. Elder Zhong looked at the crimson flame pill in Valley Head Nai's arms with resentment. Yes, there was also the Yuhuandan pill. They came to the pill refining room where Zhong Xiaohua was temporarily staying. After listening carefully and making sure that there was no one outside, Valley Head Nai said, Nephew Ren, little you must have already informed you yesterday. The trip to the cult of incense has been confirmed. Today, Master Kong has also given his approval. You should pack up today. Tomorrow, you will follow the 9 medicine apprentices of Rejuvenation Valley to the cult of incense. Zhong Xiaohua nodded and said, Thank you, Uncle Nai, for your help. Valley Head Nai waved his hand, you don't have to be so polite. However, although the medicine apprentices of Rejuvenation Valley have nothing to do with Rejuvenation Valley once they leave Rejuvenation Valley, they are still people of Rejuvenation Valley. The reliability of these medicine apprentices and their future actions in the cult of incense will affect Rejuvenation Valley's reputation. Moreover, to be honest, Nephew Ren, I thought of it too simply. I didn't think that it would be as simple as being a medicine apprentice in the cult of incense. Hearing this, Zhong Xiaohua bowed again, Uncle Nai, don't worry. I will definitely remember your kindness in helping me. Moreover, I know my own weight. When I arrive at the cult of incense, I will not cause trouble and drag Rejuvenation Valley into trouble. Valley Head Nai smiled and said, It's best that Nephew Ren thinks this way. Actually, I'm not worried about Nephew Ren. Although Nephew Ren has only stayed in Rejuvenation Valley for half a year, the impact of this half a year on Rejuvenation Valley can be said to be, Valley Head Nai seemed to be unable to find the right words, it can be said that the impact is far-reaching. It can't be said that it has become a brand new Rejuvenation Valley, but it's almost there. Moreover, Nephew Ren is kind-hearted and has a calm personality. She will definitely not bring trouble to Rejuvenation Valley. I am very relieved about this. However, among the 10 medicine apprentices who are going to the Cult of Incense this time, other than Nephew Ren, there is another person who is just there to make up the numbers. Zhong Xiaohua was shocked and said, "What do you mean, Uncle Nai?" Thus, Valley Head Nai explained the matter in full detail. After Valley Head Nai finished, Zhong Xiaohua frowned. She suddenly felt that this seemingly normal nepotism was extremely abnormal. After pondering for a moment, Zhong Xiaohua probed, "Uncle Nai, what do you mean?" A trace of cold light flashed through Valley Head Nai's eyes. "Honorable Nephew Ren, this old man will entrust you with a task. If you discover that this domineering fellow has any other intentions, please don't let this fellow do anything harmful to Rejuvenation Valley on account of this old man recommending you to spread the incense order." With a frown, Zhong Xiaohua fell into deep thought. This matter didn't sound difficult, but if she seriously thought about it, it would be troublesome. She was only going to inquire about second brother's news. Although she had the title of Rejuvenation Valley's son-in-law, he was only a prospective son-in-law. Everything about the Cult of Incense was still unknown. If she agreed to Valley Head Nai's request, she would have no choice but to place some of her thoughts on this Nephew Ren who had no relationship with her at all. Seeing Zhong Xiaohua's somewhat difficult expression, Valley Head Nai gritted his teeth and said, "Nephew Ren, this old man knows that this matter is somewhat difficult for you. There are many hidden dragons and crouching tigers in the Cult of Incense, and I don't know how many experts there are. However, you should also think about it. If Nephew Ren were to do something outrageous, wouldn't it implicate hundreds and thousands of innocent people in Rejuvenation Valley? Even little you would find it difficult to escape. Furthermore, Nephew Ren, since you are not injured by Lord Kong's palm, I believe that your martial arts skills are not inferior to Manager Yang's. I have already instructed Manager Yang to take care of this matter. If it is inconvenient for him, I would like you to take action on his behalf. What do you think?" Zhong Xiaohua sighed and said, "If that is the case, Uncle Nai, this nephew will agree to your request. However, I have to say the ugly words first. If I were to act, then Nephew Ren," Valley Head Nai understood and nodded, "this old man understands. I want you to act to cut the weeds and eliminate the roots. There is no need to leave any leeway." Zhong Xiaohua also nodded, "Since it is like this nephew will agree to Uncle Nai's request." Valley Head Nai cupped his hands. If Nephew Ren were to act, then this old man would have no worries. Subsequently, Valley Head Nai told Zhong Xiaohua about the situation that Manager Yang had told him yesterday. After listening, Zhong Xiaohua could not help but frown. It is peaceful to be a medicine boy. However, to be an outer disciple, what kind of tests do you have to pass to be able to roam the Jianghu? This is somewhat difficult. Not to mention the difficulties of roaming the Jianghu, as long as you become an outer disciple, you will have to join the fragrant religion. If you were to make things difficult for the fragrant religion in the future, wouldn't you be acting without justification? This seems to have deviated from your original plan. Seeing Zhong Xiaohua like this, Valley Head Nai was somewhat embarrassed. "Nephew Ren, this old man did not understand these things before. I thought that I would just be a medicine boy. I did not expect." Zhong Xiaohua smiled and said, "Uncle Nai, what are you thinking? This nephew is just a bit surprised. There are too many rules in this fragrant religion. I have no complaints about other things. Being able to enter the fragrant religion is all thanks to Uncle Nai's matchmaking. This nephew is very grateful." At this time, Zhong Xiaohua had already thought it through. Of course, taking the normal route would not be easy. However, aren't we practitioners of the way of immortals? We have countless methods to confuse martial artists. Since the normal route is not possible, then we will take the abnormal route. We will pretend to be dead and escape underground. Oh, if that does not work, we will escape using fire. Could it be that we can't sneak out? In any case, she could not first be a medicine boy, then an outer disciple, and then pass some tests. How tiring would that be? On the other side, Valley Head Nai asked, "What does Nephew Ren plan to do?" Zhong Xiaohua rubbed her chin. "The situation is stronger than the person. Uncle Nai, since we are in other people's territory, What is there for this nephew to be calculative about? It is only the arrangements of others. In any case, this nephew is only here to inquire about the news of my brothers. If I can learn some of the fragrant religion's martial arts, TSK, this nephew would naturally be more than happy to do so. Valley Head Nai nodded and repeated Manager Yang's words. Zhong Xiaohua was naturally endlessly grateful. After chatting for a while and explaining some of the fragrant religion's rules and taboos, Valley Head Nai finally walked out unhurriedly. At this time, the sun was already setting in the west. Zhong Xiaohua stood at the entrance of the pill room and looked at the rejuvenation valley that she had lived in for half a year. She had an indescribable feeling in her heart. There are more chapters. Support the author. Support the original reading. -3. Chapter 506. To Zhong Xiaohua, coming to Rejuvenation Valley was definitely a coincidence. He never thought that he would be able to stay here for half a year. Furthermore, thinking about the rewards he had gained here, it could be said that it was fruitful. It was more pleasing to the eye than the fruits of autumn. Thinking about it, the art of alchemy, the art of making weapons, the art of alchemy, the heavenly Tao of the human body, the meridian nourishing pill, the jade water sword. Just thinking about it made Zhong Xiaohua want to cover his mouth and laugh. However, was this all that he had gained? Looking at the clouds in the azure sky, Zhong Xiaohua could not help but feel disappointed. Faintly, he felt that he had not included the most important thing in his calculations. But, how could he include her in his calculations? He almost could not grasp his own thoughts. It was more difficult than comprehending the heavenly Tao. Perhaps, he would have an explanation today. After all, he was leaving early in the morning. Zhong Xiaohua thought so. Unexpectedly, Nai Qianyu, who usually came to Zhong Xiaohua's place when she had nothing to do, did not show up for the entire afternoon. It was as if she did not realize that Zhong Xiaohua was leaving the next day. Zhong Xiaohua did not have much to pack. After staying outside the alchemy room for a while, he returned. He sat cross-legged and pondered over the mantra to conceal his cultivation. This was too important. The scene of him encountering the incense order's emissary, Lord Kong, was still fresh in his mind. He did not think that this seemingly cold Lord Kong was simply testing his martial arts. If not for the fact that his actual strength was far beyond what he had shown, that simple palm strike would have seriously injured him. But to be able to trick the Yuhuandan pill out of a simple bite of the tongue was really out of his expectations. This Lord Kong, cough cough, was really rich and imposing. Zhong Xiaohua did not know that Peacock, who was sitting cross-legged on the white blanket, was also deep in thought. She could not suppress the irritation in her heart. Peacock really did not know why she had lost her composure. This Zhong Xiaohua was just an ordinary disciple of the pugilistic world. His looks were average and his figure was thin. No matter where she looked from, there was no reason for her to be attracted to him. The cult of incense never forbade its disciples from having feelings for each other. Peacock was a typical example amongst the inner disciples, and it was unknown how many of the elites in the sect secretly admired her. But the female disciples of the cult of incense were mostly indifferent towards feelings, and Peacock was the same. So, until now, there had not been a formal or suitable disciple who could make her fall in love. But today, on an ordinary afternoon, a sunny afternoon, an ordinary medicine boy, a youth who was said to be only 15 years old, actually made her feel like he was the only one in the world. This was simply impossible, simply inconceivable. That faint smile, that neither servile nor overbearing salute, and that instant of warmth when their palms touched, caused a great wave of emotions to surge through Peacock's heart. The humble way of addressing her as little one, the lowly status of medicine boy, and the flattering recommendation from Valley Head Nai and the others made Peacock's heart burn with a strong sense of shame and anger. Whether this shame and anger was directed at Zhong Xiaohua or herself, she could not tell. At the same time, the trace of blood at the corner of Zhong Xiaohua's mouth caused her to feel a faint pain in her heart, but also a trace of satisfaction. Sigh. Peacock let out a long sigh. She lifted her eyes to look out the window at the setting sun. She thought to herself, entering the world, is this entering the world? I have been practicing martial arts with all my heart, hoping to see the truth of the world. I do not want to be shackled by worldly affairs. But Master forced this mission to leave the valley on me. He wants me to enter the world to train myself, hoping that I will be able to gain something from this short journey. But this simple journey to Rejuvenation Valley has caused me to encounter such an inexplicable dilemma. Could it be that this young man is destined to be? Peacock's face blushed slightly under the veil. She shook her head to herself, that may not be the case. This brat is only 15 years old. He is supposed to be Rejuvenation Valley's son-in-law. Why would I want to snatch him for no reason? It's so boring. It must be a coincidence that made me feel this way. I can only say that my worldly fate has yet to be fulfilled and I still have something in my heart. With this explanation in her heart, Peacock's heart calmed down slightly. That must be it. Why else would the feeling I had when I first saw him be different from later on? If there is fate, this feeling should not change. Rejuvenation Valley, Peach Blossom Forest, Peach Blossom Nunnery. Nai Chenyu stared blankly at the peach trees outside the window. The brilliant peach blossoms of spring had long turned into spring mud. Countless peaches had borne fruit. But where was the fruit she wanted? Nai Chenyu's eyes looked at the peach blossom forest. Her mind kept flashing back to the days and nights she spent with Zhong Xiaohua. Many details she thought she had long forgotten were inadvertently recalled at this moment. But the more she thought about it, the more bitter she felt. An unintentional encounter was going to end tomorrow. A fate that had a beautiful beginning but did not have a perfect ending. Was this what it meant to be fated but not meant to be? Picking up the comb on the table, Nai Chenyu unconsciously combed her dark hair. This was usually done by Little Orange, but now it was the best way for Nai Chenyu to sort out her worries. However, it was easy to comb her hair but difficult to untie her feelings. Not to mention the thousands of knots that had been tied in her heart. Perhaps only he could untie these knots with his own hands. Not far away, Little Orange worriedly looked at the young miss who was looking out the window while combing her hair. She did not know how to comfort her. Ever since she came back last night, Nai Chenyu had been so listless. It was as if her entire soul was outside. Last night at the banquet to welcome the incense cult, there was some laughter, but the rest of the time she was like this. Alas, who could understand Nai Chenyu's thoughts better than her? Who could truly understand Nai Chenyu's feelings? In an instant, the back of a young man holding a long sword with boundless momentum appeared in Little Orange's mind. That back was so attractive that her eyes were firmly glued to it. For a long, long time, she was unwilling to look away. While she was lost in thought, the sound of the stairs creaking suddenly came from below. Little Orange turned her head and saw Valley Master Nai walking up the stairs. Little Orange saw him and quickly bowed. She was about to greet Nai Chenyu when Valley Master Nai quickly waved his hand and shook his head gently. Little Orange saw this and worriedly looked at Nai Chenyu before carefully retreating. Valley Master Nai walked lightly to Nai Chenyu's side. Looking at his beloved daughter's empty eyes and frozen expression, his heart ached. He sighed softly, "Little you, little you." It was not until he called her 3 times that Nai Chenyu came back to her senses. Seeing that it was her father, she quickly said, "When did father come?" After she finished speaking, she was about to stand up and bow. Valley Master Nai held her shoulders and smiled, "Father also just came in. You should sit down." As he spoke, Valley Master Nai also sat down on the ground beside Nai Chenyu. "Father." Nai Chenyu looked at her father's behavior and her small mouth was a bit flat. In Nai Chenyu's memory, when her mother had just passed away, her father would always casually sit beside her like this and look at her lovingly, whether it was reading medicine books or doing needlework. However, as she grew older and the affairs in the valley became more and more busy, her father had not sat beside her like this for a long time. Valley Master Nai smiled kindly and reached out to stroke his daughter's hair. "Little you have grown up. Father is also old. Alas, but there are some things that I can't do for you. Although I really want to, but you still have to rely on yourself. Ren Xiaoyao. I know that what I want to do can only end here. He was extremely unwilling to say the 3 words Ren Xiaoyaro here for fear that it would affect his daughter's feelings. Fortunately, when Nai Qianyu heard it, her eyes only reddened and she did not have much of a reaction. She also sighed, "Father, I understand what you mean. When you asked Big Brother Ren to stay and promised to send him to the fragrant religion, I already knew. He is a person of unknown origin. If you didn't want to give me a chance and give him a favor, how could you recommend him to the fragrant religion? After all, he is brother-in-law's cousin. Back then, Uncle Yu personally looked for you and you didn't agree. This is putting the lifeline of our Rejuvenation Valley on the line." Valley Master Nai smiled bitterly. "I originally wanted to repay Ren Xiaoyao's kindness in escorting you back. I also wanted to send him to the fragrant religion and then use our Rejuvenation Valley's elixirs and alchemy skills to create conditions for you. Who knew, alas, this Ren Xiaoyaro and this Bida school actually returned to our Rejuvenation Valley something that far exceeded what we gave him. In this way, recommending him to the fragrant religion would not be obvious, and Valley Master Nai solemnly took out a jade bottle from his bosom and handed it to Nai Qianyu, saying, and this Ren Xiaoyao actually refined the legendary Crimson Flame elixir and only kept one for himself. The other 5 were all given to our Rejuvenation Valley. Hey! Nai Qianyu was a little surprised and then smiled. I don't find it strange that Big Brother Ren can refine the Crimson Flame elixir. He seems to be a deity and there is nothing he can't do. I didn't go to the pill room at noon for the same reason. However, Big Brother Ren has never suffered losses. Why did he change his mind this time and only keep one for himself? Valley Master Nai smiled. Why don't you think about it? Looking at her father's half-smile, Nai Qianyu blushed and said in a voice as small as a mosquito, "Is it for me? What do you think?" Valley Master Nai still asked in return. A trace of spirit appeared in Nai Qianyu's eyes. Then he should have given it to me personally. Why did he have to go through father's hands? Valley Master Nai smiled. How would father know the thoughts of a young man? Perhaps he is thin-skinned. In any case, I advised him to keep the elixir for his brother, but he said to give it to the person who needs it the most. Then his smile became even wider, saying, but in this Rejuvenation Valley, who needs to improve their skills the most? Valley Master Nai had thought that Nai Qianyu would laugh through her tears and even blame him shyly after hearing these words. However, when Nai Qianyu heard these words, her face instantly paled and there was some despair in her eyes. She bit her lips and didn't say a word. Valley Master Nai thought to himself, oh no, I don't know what I said wrong. -3. Chapter 507. Valley Head Nai originally wanted to comfort his daughter by saying that Zhong Xiaohua wanted to leave the Crimson Flame Pill for Nai Qianyu to increase her power. However, Nai Qianyu's expression changed drastically. Valley Head Nai forced a smile and said, "What's wrong? Little Yu, did I say something wrong?" After a long while, Nai Qianyu said in a low voice, "Brother Ren is right. I am the one who needs to increase my power the most in Rejuvenation Valley. However, Father, with my martial arts, even if I take the Crimson Flame Pill, I will not be able to catch up to you. How can I accompany Brother Ren to roam the pugilistic world?" Valley Head Nai laughed and said, "You want to roam the pugilistic world just like that?" Nai Qianyu said shyly, "Why not? Brother Ren's martial arts are so high. If I can't be on par with him, how can I? Haha, if 1 Crimson Flame Pill is not enough, we will take 2. If 2 is not enough, we will take 3. Valley Head Nai said generously. Alas. Nai Qianyu sighed. Although her face was still red, she said, "Father, you don't have to comfort me. This medicinal pill is only effective for the first time. It's useless to take more. I don't believe that you don't know this." Valley Head Nai's face was a little awkward. Cough cough, it is better to take it than not. This is Brother Ren's good intention. You should accept it. After he finished speaking, he was about to put the jade bottle into Nai Qianyu's hands. However, Nai Qianyu shook her head and pushed the jade bottle back. She said in a low voice, "Father, don't deceive me. You are the one who planned to take the Crimson Flame Pill." Valley Head Nai was stunned but said, "No, my Crimson Flame Pill is in the pill room." Then, looking at Nai Qianyu's somewhat reproachful eyes, He shook his head and said, "Little you, sometimes being too smart may not be a good thing." Sigh. Nai Chenyu looked out of the window and said, "Brother Ren has always been clear about public and private matters. If he wanted to give it to me, he would definitely leave one for me. Since he gave all the pills to father, it naturally means that he gave them to Rejuvenation Valley. Perhaps everyone in Rejuvenation Valley needs the Crimson Flame pill to increase their power, but only I don't. Because 5 years of power is completely meaningless to a weak girl like me who has yet to achieve martial arts." "Don't think so, father." Valley Master Nai didn't speak. He quietly looked at his daughter who had regained her composure. Nai Chenyu continued, "Father's internal strength has been stuck at a bottleneck in recent years and has not been able to improve for a long time. Although the method of circulating internal strength that Big Brother Ren taught is very good, father's internal strength is still limited and cannot be practiced to perfection. If we can obtain the help of this Crimson Flame pill, success will be achieved naturally and our internal strength will enter a new realm. This method of refining pills will also be successful and our Rejuvenation Valley will be able to refine real pills. And you giving this pill to your daughter is really like trying to put out a burning cart with a cup of water." After Valley Master Nai finished listening to his daughter, his expression was still calm as he softly said, "You know, Xiao Yu, ever since your mother passed away, your face has never revealed a true smile. Although sometimes I see you smile very sweetly, father knows that your heart is not really happy. Although father knows that going out this time has some risks, on one hand, you want to be strong and have to go. On the other hand, father also hopes that you can go out and see the outside world so that you can open your heart. During the period when there was no news of you, father was very distressed and often regretted his decision. I was afraid that something would happen to you. Father has let down your mother who passed away early. But you came back safely. Not only did you fulfill your desire to be strong, you also brought back your laughter. You know, Xiao Yu, father saw you looking at Ren Xiaoyaro with a faint smile. Father was very happy. Although your smile was not as bright as before, father knew that it came from the bottom of your heart. It was a happy smile. That was how father felt when I met your mother. So, when Ren Xiaoyaro was about to leave the next day, father agreed to your Uncle Yu's suggestion without hesitation. I know that your Uncle Yu made this suggestion because he was dissatisfied with my rejection back then and wanted to see how I would deal with it. But, Xiao Yu, if father didn't agree, Ren Xiaoyaro would leave immediately. I saw your despair and sadness in your eyes. Father would rather lose Rejuvenation Valley than let you be sad. Father only wants you to be happy and happy. Father also hopes that you can have a good start in these 4 to 5 months. Father is also willing to take this risk just for this beautiful start. But, father, I don't look like a fairy and my martial arts are also very weak. Although I have been with Brother Ren for such a long time, I know that his heart is not with me. Valley Master Nai smiled and said, Xiao Yu, it is important for a girl to be beautiful and have excellent martial arts. But these are only a few aspects. You also have intelligence that other girls don't have. This is your strength. You can't compare your shortcomings with other people's strengths. Then he asked, moreover, does your brother Ren already have a girl he likes? This. Nai Chenyu was a little hesitant. It seems that he does, but it also seems that he doesn't. I don't understand. Valley Master Nai nodded and said, since you didn't say it clearly, then you don't have one. Xiao Yu, aren't you always strong? Why are you so weak now? Ren Xiaoyao's martial arts is now something that even father can't understand. If he goes to Chuanxiong religion to study for a few more years, even if he doesn't take the name of Chuanxiong religion, he will still be one of the top in Jianghu. This is a delicious cake. It's rare for you to have the opportunity to be close to him. You must not give up. Father, who is the delicious cake? Who wants to snatch it? Nai Chenyu's face turned red again, full of a little girl's attitude. Seeing his daughter's active mind, Valley Master Nai knew that his words had an effect. So he didn't dare to say more. He took out a jade bottle and said, Xiao Yu, didn't you always want to see Chuanxiong religion's Yuhuandan pill? Here it is, in this bottle. Really? Nai Chenyu was surprised. Uncle Yang gave it to you? Why didn't he mention it yesterday? Valley Master Nai saw that he had successfully diverted Nai Chenyu's attention and said with a smile, "Old Yang, with his appearance, if he had it, he would have taken it out long ago. He is just a steward of the pill opening hall. He always hid it from me, thinking that I don't know. When he came back for the third time, he was drunk and spilled the truth. He just comes out often and his position in the pill opening hall is also ordinary. Steward, it's just a gimmick when he goes out. How could he have the Yuhuandan pill?" Nai Chenyu was even more surprised. Did the messenger give it to him? But it can't be. The previous messengers were extremely indifferent. They didn't say anything and didn't even let us look at their faces. How could they just give us the Rejuvenation Valley, such a healing medicine? Valley Master Nai blinked. "Little you, why don't you guess how I got the Jade Rejuvenation pill?" Nai Chenyu shook her head. "I only know that it should have been given by the messenger. As for why, I don't know." "Ha ha ha," Valley Master Nai laughed. "You don't know, Master Kong went to the inner valley to play today. When he saw Ren Xiaoyaro, he thought of the martial arts competition on the arena and reached out to test him. He accidentally injured Ren Xiaoyao, so he took it out." Without waiting for Valley Master Nai to finish speaking, Nai Chenyu stood up and said urgently, "Oh, father, why are you still laughing? Brother Ren is injured, right? How is his injury? Did he take the Yuhuandan pill? Will he still be able to preach the incense religion tomorrow?" Valley Master Nai secretly shook his head at the series of questions. He pulled Nai Chenyu and said with a smile, "Xiao Yu, sit down. Your brother Ren is not injured at all." Nai Chenyu was stunned and said, "Master Kong took out the Yuhuandan pill, how can he be fine?" Valley Master Nai smiled and told her what happened at noon. Although she knew that Zhong Xiaohua was fine, Nai Chenyu's face still turned pale. Until she heard Zhong Xiaohua shamelessly say, "I'm fine, I just bit my lip." She could not help but spit and said with a smile, "This guy can't take any losses. Master Kong only tested his skills and he extorted a bottle of Yuhuandan pill from him." However, she immediately asked with concern, "How many pills did Master Kong give Brother Ren?" "He gave it to Father and Elder Zhong." "How many pills does he have?" Valley Master Nai waved his hand and said, "You said it yourself, this guy can't take any losses. He obviously still has a lot in his bottle, otherwise he would not have given us 2 pills. Alright, I'll give this one to you. You can only protect yourself. If anything happens, you can let Father be at ease." Nai Chenyu smiled and said, "No need, Father. I will not leave Rejuvenation Valley. How can I encounter any accidents? You can take it." Valley Master Nai was resolute in not taking it and said, "If you don't go out now, you can't guarantee that you won't go out in the future. Don't you still want to roam the Jianghu?" Father Tilda Nai Chenyu rebuked and casually took the bottle of Yuhuandan pill. However, Nai Chenyu immediately felt a bit strange and said, "Father, think about it. Why would Master Kong of the incense religion want to test Brother Ren's martial arts? Even if it was a test, she must have a sense of propriety and would not harm Brother Ren. Moreover, even if Brother Ren was not injured, how could Master Kong not see it?" These questions made Valley Master Nai speechless. Yes, Valley Master Nai had clearly seen Master Kong's loss of self-control. However, he did not dare to make wild guesses. Secondly, he believed that there was no relationship between Master Kong and Zhong Xiaohua. Thirdly, and most importantly, he did not dare to tell Nai Chenyu about Master Kong's loss of self-control. He was afraid that it would cause Nai Chenyu to misunderstand. How could a girl who was in love have a normal intelligence? If there were any unusual actions because of this, it would not be good for anyone. Therefore, Valley Master Nai also took out the weapon that Zhong Xiaohua was accustomed to using and said with a smile, "I don't know about this." However, Nai Chenyu frowned and thought to herself. Valley Master Nai saw this and said, "Alright, little you, Father will leave now. If you want to know why, you can ask your brother Ren. Perhaps he will know." Ari Tilda Nai Chenyu sighed, "Let me think about it again." Valley Master Nai shook his head and turned to go downstairs. A jade bottle was left at the place where Valley Master Nai had been standing. Come and read more chapters. Support the author, support the original reading. -3. Chapter 508. After thinking for a long time, Nai Qianyu still couldn't make up her mind to see Zhong Xiaohua, whose lips were injured. Although she knew that it was better to see one more time, she couldn't summon the courage to face Zhong Xiaohua's ruthless indifference and her own feelings. After all, she was still in her first bloom of love. While thinking, Nai Qianyu's eyes suddenly lit up. She threw the comb far away and shouted, "Xiao Juzi, Xiao Juzi." When Xiao Juzi hurriedly ran upstairs, Nai Qianyu continued to shout, "Go, go, get my needle and thread." Xiao Juzi was puzzled. She didn't know why Miss suddenly wanted to do needlework. But when she saw Nai Qianyu's excited appearance, she prayed to Buddha in her heart and hurriedly went to help find the necessary items. In the pill room, Zhong Xiaohua didn't see Nai Qianyu arrive. It was already late. At dusk, dark clouds covered the sky above Rejuvenation Valley. Before long, thunder rumbled and it started to rain. Sitting cross-legged in the pill room, Zhong Xiaohua listened to the familiar sound of thunder outside. She was eager to give it a try. She hadn't attracted thunder for a long time. But when she thought of Official Kong, who was nearby in the outer valley, Zhong Xiaohua immediately extinguished the idea. She would leave for the fragrant religion tomorrow. She couldn't give up on finding her second brother just because she was greedy for a moment of cultivation. The loss outweighed the gain. Zhong Xiaohua continued to comprehend the incantation until midnight. Then she laid down a restriction and began to cultivate the Carefree Heart Sutra. In the rainy night, the raindrops silently moistened everything. But when they hit the windowsills, the roofs, and the trees, countless people in Rejuvenation Valley couldn't sleep. No matter if they were old or young, no matter how profound their skills were, as long as they had worries in their hearts, they were all like this. There were many things to talk about that night, but it was difficult to talk about them. The rain gradually stopped in the early morning, but it was still cloudy. No starlight or morning sun could be seen. Zhong Xiaohua woke up on time. When she opened her eyes, she didn't hear the sound of rain. She couldn't help but smile. The rain has stopped and the sky is clear. It's a good time to travel. It's a good omen. However, when he put away the restriction and walked out, he suddenly discovered that there were two girls standing at the entrance of his pill room. Their clothes were a little wet, and one of the girls was leading an animal that looked like a donkey, a horse, a deer, and a cow. If they weren't Nai Qianyu and Xiao Juzi, who else could it be? It was already July and August and the weather was hot. However, Rejuvenation Valley's climate was different. It was like spring all year round. After a night of rain and gusts of cold wind, the morning after the rainy night was a little chilly. In addition, her clothes were a little wet. Nai Qianyu's lips were trembling slightly from the cold. Seeing this, Zhong Xiaohua felt a slight pain in his heart for no reason. He quickly walked forward and rebuked, "Little Yua, why are you here so early? Your clothes are wet. Why didn't you call me?" Before Nai Qianyu could say anything, Xiao Juzi behind her said loudly, "Miss has been standing here for an hour. The rain didn't stop. It was inevitable that she would get wet on the way here. Moreover, you slept like a log. I shouted until my throat was broken, but you didn't respond at all. If I had known, I would have asked Miss to come later." At this time, Huan Huan, the deer in Xiao Juzi's hands, also cried out happily. It ran over and stuck out its tongue to lick Zhong Xiaohua's face intimately. Since Zhong Xiaohua came to Rejuvenation Valley, she had left Huan Huan to others to raise and didn't take care of it. Now that they hadn't seen each other for half a year, how could she not be happy? However, Zhong Xiaohua was not in the mood to pay attention to Huan Huan's situation. She gently patted its horn and said to Nai Qianyu, "Little fishy, let's go inside to warm up. Seeing you so cold, my heart." Zhong Xiaohua stopped at the right time. Nai Qianyu forced a smile and said, No need, Brother Ren. It's already late. The caravan of the incense cult is usually prepared before dawn. When I came over just now, I saw the people in the valley helping to pack up. It should be ready soon. Brother Ren, you should go there early. Don't give people a bad impression." "But..." Zhong Xiaohua looked at Nai Qianyu's face. "It's okay, Brother Ren. Although it's cold now, it should be warm when we reach the outer valley. Don't delay your journey." "Okay." Zhong Xiaohua nodded and walked back to the pill room. She took out a small package that she had packed last night and took out her great wisdom sword. She put these two things on Huan's back and said, "Let's go." Thus, Little Orange took Huan's hand and left first. Zhong Xiaohua and Nai Qianyu slowly followed behind. When they left the inner valley, the east was already a little bright. In the distance, they could see that the caravan of the incense cult had already been packed up. There were only a few people walking around. Zhong Xiaohua did not dare to release her spiritual sense at first, for fear of being discovered by Master Kong. However, when she saw the caravan, she suddenly remembered that she had used her spiritual sense to observe the caravan the day before yesterday. And yesterday, when she directly used her spiritual sense to see through Master Kong's veil, she did not know. She must have seen that something was wrong with her. It was definitely not a problem with her spiritual sense. Immediately, Zhong Xiaohua released her spiritual sense. Sure enough, in the distant attic, Steward Yang and Valley Master Nai, as well as a few disciples of the incense cult, were waiting respectfully downstairs. Master Kong was still coming downstairs. Zhong Xiaohua was relieved. This time, she noticed that Nai Qianyu, who was beside her, was wearing a light yellow robe. She was dressed very beautifully. Even her face, which usually did not wear any makeup, was slightly dressed. It was the same appearance as when she returned to the Rejuvenation Valley that day. It was just that back then, she had braided her hair. Now, her long hair was loose and she looked more mature. However, there seemed to be something different. In a hurry, Zhong Xiaohua could not tell. The two of them walked very slowly. Nai Qianyu clutched the corner of her clothes and secretly bit her lips. Zhong Xiaohua also lowered her head and walked quietly. The two of them did not speak. When the figures of Master Kong, Steward Yang and Valley Master Nai appeared in the distance, the two of them had only walked a short distance. When she saw the figures, Nai Qianyu knew that it was time to say goodbye. Her eyes immediately turned red and she said, "Big Brother Ren, you're leaving soon." I don't know if you've thought about everything about the incense cult." Zhong Xiaohua said softly, "It's just a matter of finding out. I just have to be careful. If I can learn something, I'm willing to do so." "Little you don't worry. That's good. Big Brother Ren, you still have to be careful. Don't." As she spoke, Nai Qianyu did not know what to say. As they spoke, Peacock and the others had already walked half the distance, but Zhong Xiaohua and Nai Qianyu had not even walked half the distance. Nai Qianyu looked over anxiously and took out 2 jade bottles and handed them to Zhong Xiaohua. She said, "Big Brother Ren, these 2 jade bottles were given to me by father yesterday. One is the Crimson Flame pill and the other is the Yuhuandan pill. I know you have some with you, but these are hard to come by. It's better to keep as many as you can. Take them, I have no use for them anyway." "Ah!" Zhong Xiaohua was surprised. These things had been tossed around, why did it return to her? Zhong Xiaohua quickly declined, "1 Crimson Flame pill is enough. It's useless to have more. I still have a lot of Yuhuandan pill with me. You can keep them for yourself." Nai Qianyu refused. "The Crimson Flame pill is the most important thing for you to improve your skills. It's also useful for you to spread the incense cult. The Yuhuandan pill is even more important. It's extremely effective in treating internal injuries. It's inevitable that you'll encounter danger in the martial arts world. If you can have 1 more Yuhuandan pill, you'll have 1 more layer of protection." Zhong Xiaohua waved her hand, "Let's not talk about the Yuhuandan pill first. I still have the Crimson Flame pill. Only the first one is effective. The rest are redundant. I have no use for them. You can take them." Seeing Zhong Xiaohua decline, Nai Qianyu's tears almost fell. 1 more pill is always useful. She stubbornly placed her outstretched hand in front of Zhong Xiaohua's eyes and refused to withdraw it. Zhong Xiaohua was extremely touched. She looked at the 2 sacred pills that everyone in the martial arts world coveted. Nai Qianyu gave them to her without hesitation just to give her an additional layer of protection. Zhong Xiaohua rubbed her slightly sour nose, looked into the distance, and whispered into Nai Qianyu's ear, "Little you keep it well. I also have a lot of Crimson Flame pills. I'll only tell you one. Don't tell anyone else." Bah! Nai Qianyu couldn't help but spit. Zhong Xiaohua looked at the other jade bottle and said, "This is the Yuhuandan pill. That Lord Kong gave me 6 pills. I've been using them. Don't underestimate your big brother Ren. When have I ever suffered internal injuries? And this Yuhuandan pill, to be honest, I really have no use for it. Although it has a great reputation, it can't treat my internal injuries." "What?" Nai Qianyu asked curiously. "The Yuhuandan pill is a sacred pill for healing injuries. How can it not treat your internal injuries? Big brother Ren, don't lie to me." Zhong Xiaohua acted mysterious. "Little Yu I'll only tell you. The internal energy I practice is very strange. Ordinary pills are useless for me. You must remember to keep it a secret. Don't tell anyone else." These 2 sentences of "don't tell anyone else" made Nai Qianyu feel sweet in her heart. She was skeptical. Zhong Xiaohua's lips curled up. "When did your big brother Ren lie to you? Quickly keep it. Don't let the people from the cult of fragrance see it. Otherwise, your father won't be able to take it." Nai Qianyu hesitated. Zhong Xiaohua said again, "If you don't keep it, I'll be angry." This sentence was half true and half false. Nai Qianyu treated it as an imperial edict and immediately kept it in her arms. She was afraid to make him unhappy. Seeing this, Zhong Xiaohua smiled. "That's a good little Yu." At this moment, Peacock had already boarded the carriage. She looked up and frowned. Valley Head Nai saw this and quickly said, "Lord Kong, please don't blame me. I'll hurry them up." Peacock snorted and waved her hand, indicating that there was no need. Manager Yang smiled at the side. "It's been many years since they left. I don't know when they'll meet again. Let's talk a little more." Nai Qianyu saw that Lord Kong had already boarded the carriage and did not dare to keep Zhong Xiaohua any longer. She hurriedly said, "Big brother Ren, quickly go. I'll send you here." "You," she could not finish the word "you." Her eyes were red and she was choking with sobs. "Please give me a monthly vote, a recommendation vote." -3. Chapter 509. Zhong Xiaohua looked at Nai Qianyu's small face, nodded, and then turned around. Little Orange was holding Huan's hand and was not far away. Zhong Xiaohua walked in front of Little Orange and saw that Little Orange was also shedding tears of farewell. She sighed and floated up. Turning back to look at Nai Qianyu, she patted Huan's bald horn and Huan quickly ran towards the carriages. Peacock looked at Zhong Xiaohua's David's deer and said in a low voice, "This David's deer is Ren Xiaoyao's mount?" Valley Head Nai smiled apologetically. "Yes, this David's deer is very human-like and is called Huan." Millimeter Peacock did not comment and waved her hand. "Let's go." Manager Yang shouted loudly, "Official Kong's orders, let's go." Immediately, everyone and the carriages started moving and the carriages were about to set off. Manager Yang turned around and cupped his fists towards Valley Head Nai. "Old brother Nai, this brother will be leaving now. If there is a chance in the future, we will meet again." At this time, Manager Yang did not bother to call him Valley Head Nai. Valley Head Nai looked at the old man he had known for decades and also cupped his fists. "All right, brother. Have a safe journey. If there is a chance in the future, come to Rejuvenation Valley. This old brother will be waiting for you at any time." Ha ha. The two smiled and parted with tears in their eyes. But at this time, a shout came from afar, Big brother Ren, official Kong, who was about to enter the carriage, immediately stopped and raised his head to look into the distance. He saw that Nai Qianyu seemed to have thought of something and took out something from her bosom, shouting, "Big brother Ren, wait." She chased after him on the muddy grass. Zhong Xiaohua also stopped when she heard the shout. Seeing Nai Qianyu chase after her and official Kong's carriage, she patted Huan and turned around to hurry over. Perhaps the grass was slippery, or perhaps she tripped in the mud, but in any case, our cute and easily injured Nai Qianyu slipped again and fell straight into the mud. At this time, Zhong Xiaohua was still far away and could not help her up even if she wanted to. Under everyone's gaze, Nai Qianyu fell to the ground, but her hands were still raised high. Then, she carefully got up, afraid of dirtying the thing in her hands, and continued to run forward. Zhong Xiaohua quickly dismounted. Nai Chenyu rushed in front of her and handed the thing in her hands in front of Zhong Xiaohua, panting, "Brother Ren, I have nothing else to give you. This is a silk bag that I personally made yesterday. Take it as a souvenir, take it as a memento, take it as a souvenir." Zhong Xiaohua and, as she got, Nai rushed in front of her, Nai Chenyu rushed in front and she and Chenyu at her, as she holding the thing in her hand, looking at Nai Chenyu's muddy body and face, as well as the green silk pouch in her hand, Zhong Xiaohua was once again moved. He carefully took the pouch, but he heard Nai Chenyu's face turn red as if blood was about to drip out. She whispered, "Big brother Ren, please keep the things inside. You can look at them later." Zhong Xiaohua rubbed her fingers slightly and a gap appeared in the silk bag. She did not need to look at it with her eyes, but with her divine sense, she could see that it was actually a bundle of black hair. Zhong Xiaohua suddenly understood why she did not like Nai Chenyu just now. It was because of her hair. Zhong Xiaohua could not hold it in any longer. Her eyes were red and she said softly, "Little you Nai Chenyu finally burst into tears. She rushed over and fell into Zhong Xiaohua's arms. "Brother Ren." Zhong Xiaohua raised her hands and did not know if she should put them down. Nai Chenyu hugged Zhong Xiaohua's waist with both hands, tears gushing out of her eyes like water. At this moment, Peacock, who was in the distance, frowned slightly and shouted in a low voice, "Caravan, set off." She actually used her internal energy and the whole Rejuvenation Valley heard it clearly. Everyone who saw Zhong Xiaohua and Nai Chenyu did not dare to delay. They immediately came to their senses and set off. Zhong Xiaohua's heart tightened, but she did not know if she should push Nai Chenyu away. Alas, the cicadas in winter are mournful. Facing the pavilion in the evening, the sudden rain has just stopped. Drinking in the tent at the capital gate is not in the mood. Reluctant to leave, the boat starts. Holding hands and looking at each other with teary eyes, she was speechless. While Zhong Xiaohua was hesitating, she heard official Kong say in a low voice, "Ren Xiaoyao, catch up quickly in a moment. Do not delay the journey." After saying this, Peacock went straight into the carriage and did not say anything else. Everyone was astonished. Only Valley Head Nai looked happy. Looking at the two people in the mud from afar, he led the Rejuvenation Valley people to follow the incense cult's caravan and slowly sent them off. Nai Chenyu, who buried her head in Zhong Xiaohua's arms, did not hear Peacock's first sentence clearly. However, she heard the second sentence very clearly. She could not help blushing and was about to raise her head. At this moment, Zhong Xiaohua's heart skipped a beat. She finally put her hand down and stroked Nai Chenyu's black hair. Then, she put her mouth next to Nai Chenyu's ear. Nai Chenyu's body felt hot and dry. She was surprised and happy. This was in front of everyone. How could Brother Ren? However, she heard Zhong Xiaohua's voice next to her ear. Nai Chenyu was stunned at first, then surprised, then confused, and finally grateful. After nearly half an incense stick of time, Zhong Xiaohua raised his head and smiled. "Little you do you remember clearly?" Nai Chenyu's face was red, but she did not let go of her hand. She said, "I remember it clearly, Brother Ren. Is this really the Bida School's internal strength secret manual? I can cultivate it." Zhong Xiaohua nodded. "Yes, but you have to swear that you will not tell anyone about this cultivation method, not even your father." Nai Chenyu nodded resolutely. "Okay, little fishy, you can." Zhong Xiaohua was too embarrassed to say it clearly. Nai Chenyu understood tacitly and quickly let go of her hand. She said shyly, "Brother Ren, please don't blame me. I was a little rude." Looking at Nai Chenyu's shy expression, Zhong Xiaohua could not help but reach out and pinch her nose. She said, "Don't blame me, how can I blame you?" Nai Chenyu revealed a happy smile. She bit the corner of her mouth and did not speak. The two of them were silent for a moment. Nai Chenyu whispered, "Brother Ren, let's go. If we don't leave now, we will delay the journey. If Master Kong blames us, all our previous efforts will be in vain." Zhong Xiaohua nodded and smiled. She pinched her nose again. "I have to go. Don't cry anymore. There will be a chance to meet again." Nai Chenyu nodded, but her tears flowed out again. Zhong Xiaohua sighed. She gritted her teeth and turned to leave. She heard Nai Chenyu call out again, "Brother Ren." Zhong Xiaohua's heart skipped a beat. He turned around again, looked at Little Orange who was waiting in the distance, and said in a low voice, "Little Fish Nai, there's something I need to tell you, but don't blame me, and don't tell anyone else." Nai Chenyu nodded desperately. Zhong Xiaohua whispered, "Actually, my name is not Ren Xiaoyao. My real name is Zhong Xiaohua." Zhong Xiaohua? Nai Chenyu opened her mouth in surprise. There were tears in her eyes, but she wanted to laugh out loud. She never expected that the brother Ren, who was excellent in martial arts and merciless in killing people, would have such a cute name. Seeing Nai Chenyu's surprise, Zhong Xiaohua hurriedly explained, "Little fishy, don't blame me. It's not that I don't want to explain, but I don't have a chance. Oh, don't forget, you lied to me about your age. If it wasn't for the martial arts competition, you wouldn't." Seeing Zhong Xiaohua so anxious, Nai Chenyu could not help but laugh out loud. "It's not your fault, Brother Ren. You still call me Brother Ren?" Nai Chenyu glared at Zhong Xiaohua. "Didn't you want to hide it from others? If I don't call you Brother Ren, what should I call you?" Zhong Xiaohua scratched his head. Alas, he was coaxed by this girl and revealed all his secrets. In his mind, although the carriage of the fragrance cult was moving slowly, it was already far away. Zhong Xiaohua did not dare to delay and said, "Little fishy, I have to go. You have to take care of yourself. Don't be anxious to improve your internal strength." "Okay, I really have to go." Zhong Xiaohua finally reached out his hand and stroked Nai Chenyu's hair. He turned around and floated onto the David's deer. He patted Huan's bald horn. The David's deer screamed and ran after Nai Chenyu. Zhong Xiaohua sat cross-legged and stared at Nai Chenyu. His heart was filled with mixed feelings. Don't cry, don't cry. Brother Ren told me not to cry." Nai Chenyu murmured in her heart and in a low voice. However, looking at Zhong Xiaohua's figure that was getting smaller and smaller, tears still came out of her eyes. Alas, since ancient times, sentimental feelings have hurt parting. "How can I neglect the autumn festival? Tonight, when I wake up from my drunken stupor, the wind blows and the waning moon on the bank of willow trees. This year's departure should be a good time in name only. Even if there were thousands of amorous feelings, who would he tell?" The David's deer went on the path out of the valley. Zhong Xiaohua stretched out his hand and waved goodbye. Nai Chenyu saw this and quickly waved back. However, in less than a moment, Zhong Xiaohua's figure had disappeared. After a while, the tactful Little Orange walked forward and said, "Miss, Brother Ren has gone far. You should go back and change your clothes. Otherwise, you will get sick." "Brother Ren?" Hearing this, Nai Chenyu felt warm and happy in her heart. This guy never wants to suffer any loss. I just told him my age, but he remembered it. That's my real name. He didn't tell me until the last moment. Alas, Nai Chenyu and Zhong Xiaohua, aren't they a perfect match? Could it be that he... In an instant, Nai Chenyu was stunned. She couldn't even hear Little Orange calling her from the side. Zhong Xiaohua sat cross-legged on Huan's back and waited until Nai Chenyu was out of sight before turning around. If he used his divine sense, he could still see Nai Chenyu. However, he didn't do so. Parting was always cruel. Wouldn't he torture himself many times? Looking at the dark green silk pouch in his hand, Zhong Xiaohua sighed in his heart and carefully put it into his money pouch. In addition to the Prajna heavy sword and his own small bag, there was also a huge bag on Huan's back. Needless to say, Nai Chenyu had prepared it for him. Zhong Xiaohua touched it with his hand and knew that there were many things inside. He sighed again and looked forward. As far as his eyes could see, there was no sign of the carriages. However, there were Rejuvenation Valley disciples waiting not far away. They must have been instructed by Valley Master Nai to wait for Zhong Xiaohua to come closer and quickly bow to him and point him in the direction of the carriages. Zhong Xiaohua nodded with a smile and urged the David's deer to follow closely. After chasing for a while, he finally saw a group of people in the distance. It was Valley Master Nai who led the Rejuvenation Valley disciples to bid farewell to Manager Yang and the other fragrance cult disciples. Seeing Zhong Xiaohua coming, Manager Yang laughed loudly. Our infatuated lover is finally here. Old brother Nai, you don't have to send him off. You've been here for so long, aren't you waiting for him? Valley Master Nai smiled. Yes, yes. Little brother Yang is worthy of me sending him off so far. Forget it. I've never sent him off so far before. Valley Master Nai laughed loudly. Zhong Xiaohua came forward and also dismounted. He bid farewell to Nai Qianrong and Yu Zhonglin, Nai Qianxiu and Qiong Sheng, Mu Qingxian and Fei He, and the others. Finally, he walked in front of Valley Master Nai and bowed deeply. Uncle Nai, I won't say any superfluous words of thanks. I will remember your words in my heart and will not let you down. Please rest assured. Valley Master Nai nodded and smiled with relief. Zhong Xiaohua looked at the happy departing crowd and said, in the future, if Rejuvenation Valley needs anything from me, please tell me. I will not hesitate to go through water and tread on fire. -3. Chapter 510. Zhong Xiaohua spoke very softly and Valley Master Nai nodded slightly. He reached out and patted him on the shoulder, indicating that he understood. Manager Yang, who was waiting not far away, looked at them with a sense of farewell. Then, Zhong Xiaohua patted Huan and followed Manager Yang. He turned back and cupped his hands at the people of Rejuvenation Valley who were standing still. Then, he turned back and followed the carriages of the incense cult. They went further and further away and gradually disappeared. Looking at Zhong Xiaohua who had become a black dot, Nai Qianrong rode to Valley Master Nai's side and said, Father, I always wanted to remind you, but I married early and didn't dare to talk about the affairs of the valley. Now that the emissary of the incense cult has left, I can't hold it in anymore and want to. Valley Master Nai smiled and said, Are you still worried that Ren Xiaoxia will bring trouble to Rejuvenation Valley? Nai Qianrong's face was burning and she murmured, although Ren Xiaoxia has helped Rejuvenation Valley, after all, Valley Master Nai waved his hand and said, Qianrong, remember, Ren Xiaoxia's help to Rejuvenation Valley is as heavy as a mountain. You don't need to know the details. We have to pay the price for what we did. Besides, it's already like this. Even if there is a mistake, it's useless to talk about it. Why think about it? Nai Qianrong nodded, but little Yu. At this time, Yu Zhonglin also stepped forward and said, Father-in-law, this Ren Xiaoxia is a rare person in Jianghu. If we let him go like this, little Yu will be lovesick. Nai Qianrong spat, How can you talk about your sister-in-law like this? Valley Master Nai stroked his beard and said in disappointment, Ren Xiaoxia is not a fish in a pond. He just hasn't had the opportunity yet. Sooner or later, he will soar to the 9th heaven. But our Rejuvenation Valley. Sigh, it depends on whether our little Yu has such charm. While they were talking, Nai Qianxiu and Qiong Sheng also stepped forward. The three of them looked at each other and shut their mouths. Nai Qianxiu looked curiously at the three of them who kept their mouths shut. She smiled and said, Father and big sister are also talking about this Ren Xiaoyao, right? This brat is really smart. He managed to coax father into agreeing to let him spread the incense cult. Sigh, father, it's not that I want to nag at you, but even if he escorted Xiaoyu back, he was just driving a carriage and sending a person back. Who knows if he has any other motives? My Rejuvenation Valley has such a huge foundation. How could he not know the benefits of a live-in son-in-law? That day, he had pretended to refuse, but why didn't he take the initiative to leave? In my opinion, he must have investigated clearly and used our Rejuvenation Valley as a springboard to spread the incense cult. Moreover, he also played with little Yu's feelings and took our Rejuvenation Valley into his hands. Qiong Sheng didn't say it directly. He only said, Father-in-law, this matter is somewhat inappropriate. Ren Xiaoyao is just an outsider. Even if his background is clean, it's best not to. Seeing Valley Master Nai's unfriendly expression, Qiong Sheng didn't dare finish his sentence. He only said, in any case, father-in-law should be more careful in the future. When Nai Qianxiu saw this, she smiled coldly and said, Since ancient times, honest advice has always been unpleasant to the ear. Father, I'm only thinking for our Rejuvenation Valley. If you don't appreciate my kindness, we, the younger generation, can't complain. However, I still have to thank father for his forceful actions. Now that the incense cult's emissary has left, we've already instructed our family to prepare a carriage. I'll return to the whale gang and tell father-in-law about this matter. I'm sure father-in-law will come to express his gratitude. I'll return then. When he heard this, Valley Master Nai waved his hand. No need. Qiong Sheng, go back and tell your father not to mention this matter again in the future. Just pretend it never happened. It won't be good if word gets out. Qiong Sheng nodded. Afterwards, the husband and wife left on their horses. Valley Master Nai looked at everyone and also waved his hand. Let's go back to the valley. Then, he looked in the direction that the incense cult had gone. They had long since disappeared. He turned his horse around and headed straight back to Rejuvenation Valley. Those who needed to be sent off had already been sent off, and those who needed to leave had already left. Several months had passed like yesterday. Rejuvenation Valley's days would continue as usual. However, with the Crimson Flame Pill and a new method of refining pills, could Rejuvenation Valley still be the Rejuvenation Valley of the past? A ray of hope rose in Valley Master Nai's heart. Back to Zhong Xiaohua. She rode her odd beast and caught up to Manager Yang in front of them. Manager Yang was quite a distance away from the carriages. He was slowly moving forward. It was obvious that he was waiting for Zhong Xiaohua. Zhong Xiaohua approached and cupped her hands. Manager Yang, this little one thanks you for your help. Manager Yang looked at Zhong Xiaohua and smiled. Virtuous nephew Ren, your odd beast is quite good. Rejuvenation Valley must have given it to you as a gift, right? Zhong Xiaohua was startled and didn't explain. She smiled and said, it was Uncle Nai's good intentions. Manager Yang nodded. Old brother Nai and little you are really good to you. They even gave you the valley's rare David's deer as your mount. I'm really envious. However, this is a small matter. For you, they didn't even care about the rules of recommending medicine apprentices and came to me through the back door. Zhong Xiaohua said respectfully, yes, I will never forget Valley Master Nai and little you's great kindness. Manager Yang sneered. What's the use of not forgetting it? In the future, the right way is to know how to repay kindness. Zhong Xiaohua was even more startled. She cupped her hands and said, rest assured, Manager Yang. How could this little one not know? When I leave the incense cult in the future, I will definitely repay Rejuvenation Valley. Manager Yang shook his head and sneered. Ren Xiaoyao, you and Commander Nai both look down on my incense cult. Return to the Jianghu? Easier said than done. Who knows how many medicine apprentices from Rejuvenation Valley have entered the incense cult, and how many have returned? Don't think too far ahead. Zhong Xiaohua cursed inwardly. What does Manager Yang mean? I will never forget it. You said no, so I will repay the kindness. You still won't. What do you want me to do? Zhong Xiaohua was still as respectful as ever. Then please instruct me, Steward Yang. No matter what my identity was yesterday, from now on, I am the Aroma Cult's medicine boy. If there is anything I need, please instruct me. Seeing Zhong Xiaohua's humble attitude, Manager Yang nodded in his heart. Yes, since you know your identity, then it will be easy to handle. Let's talk about your previous identity. You are the son-in-law of Rejuvenation Valley. Remember, you are little Yu's future husband. Zhong Xiaohua was greatly embarrassed and thought, Ayo, this huge hat sounds nice on my head. I didn't even touch it, but it was branded. If little Fishy heard this, she might be overjoyed. He couldn't refute and smiled awkwardly. This. I know. It's just that, no buts. Manager Yang waved his hand. He said, I have watched little you grow up. Since Marshal Nai has handed his son-in-law to me, I will definitely watch over him well. Also, you must remember that your future wife is waiting for you in Rejuvenation Valley. I'm going to faint. Zhong Xiaohua complained. What does this have to do with anything? Valley Head Nai doesn't even put on the airs of a father-in-law. This unrelated person is Ari, he has good intentions. At least Valley Head Nai didn't hand over the wrong person. But, Zhong Xiaohua cried out in his heart, you've given me a warning, But little fish Nai isn't just waiting around. Maybe she'll meet a handsome husband tomorrow and marry him. I'm the only one who's being watched by you. Manager Yang saw that Zhong Xiaohua didn't speak and said, also, your current identity is only a medicine boy in my pill expansion hall. This identity is different from your previous one. To be clear, it is the same as the medicine boy in Rejuvenation Valley. It is even more lowly. You should be mentally prepared. Don't feel uncomfortable. Zhong Xiaohua nodded. Manager Yang, please don't worry. I know. Uncle Nai has also warned me. Manager Yang also nodded and changed the topic. Since you know your current identity, I have to tell you that from top to bottom in the fragrance cult, female disciples are respected. Whenever you meet a female disciple, you must be careful. You must straighten your posture and attitude. Be a good medicine boy with a clear heart and a clear mind. Zhong Xiaohua almost fell from the David's deer. Is there a need to go so far? After talking for so long, you are just warning me not to be a womanizer and let little fishy Nai down? Sure enough, Manager Yang continued, whether it's your previous identity or your current identity, it's not good to provoke the female disciples of the fragrance cult. Not to mention that you've let down Marshall Nai and little you, even the rules of my pill repository hall won't forgive you. Zhong Xiaohua smiled bitterly. Manager Yang, look at me. Do I look like someone who would provoke a female disciple? Manager Yang looked up and down and shook his head slightly. However, he looked at the carriages in front and whispered, Ren Xiaoyao, tell me. Ian, don't worry, I will not tell anyone. Do you know our Master Kong? When did you meet her? Manager Yang's gossipy look surprised Zhong Xiaohua. He quickly waved his hand. Master Kong? Don't talk nonsense. I met Master Kong for the first time at Elder Zhong's place. Moreover, she was wearing a veil. I didn't even see her face. I don't even know what she looks like. How could I know her? Not to mention meeting her. You really don't know her? Manager Yang still didn't believe him. But why was she so abnormal when she saw you? Moreover, she treated you so well just now. She didn't even blame you for not setting off on time. Do you think I am a fool? Zhong Xiaohua was puzzled. Isn't it just a little late? Is it that serious? He still shook his head. Think about it. If I knew Master Kong, why would I ask Uncle Nai to find you? Wouldn't it be better to find Master Kong directly? Ian, that's true. Manager Yang frowned and continued, however, even if Lord Kong has taken a fancy to you, you must remember not to have any thoughts of climbing up the social ladder. If that's the case, even if I have to sacrifice this old life of mine, I will drag you down from your high horse. Hee. Don't think that you can be complacent just because you're the champion of the martial arts competition. My fragrant sect is full of experts and any one of my disciples can crush you to death with just a little finger. If you don't listen to me and want to let little you down, this old man can find someone to castrate you so that you can only look but not eat. Looking at Manager Yang's complacent look, Zhong Xiaohua almost fell. This was the first ideological education class of the fragrant cult and the consequences were so serious. Recommend me. -3. Chapter 511. Seeing Zhong Xiaohua's ashen face, Manager Yang was immensely pleased with himself and laughed. Nephew Ren, don't be afraid. As your uncle, I'm just saying. As long as you follow the rules in the cult of incense and do your part, your future father-in-law and I have already figured out your future path. You just have to follow along. The bright path is right in front of you. In the future, everything in the cult will be taken care of by me as your uncle. Isn't that 100 times better than others who have no backing? All right. Looking at Manager Yang's see if you're being reasonable or not expression, Zhong Xiaohua silently cursed. She had just raised a big stick to warn him and now he wanted to give her a carrot. Do you really think I'm a 15-year-old child? But he was still respectful and only had 2 ears. Seeing Zhong Xiaohua's respect, Manager Yang was even happier and patted his chest. Although there are very few medicine apprentices who can make a name for themselves, isn't there still your Uncle Yang? I will definitely put in a good word for you in front of the hall master and create the best conditions for you so that you can reach the threshold of an outer disciple as soon as possible. Then I will find a familiar disciple to teach you properly so that you can pass the test earlier. When Zhong Xiaohua heard this, she was about to ask about the meaning of passing the test when Manager Yang changed the topic, but this is under the care of the Pill Repository Hall. Even if you're an inner disciple, if she has any matters to discuss with you, you must ignore her or find a reason to reject her. But you look like a 20-year-old person, but you're still only 15 years old. You're just a medicine apprentice. This Kong, why would he fancy you? I hope I'm just worrying for nothing. The more he spoke, the weaker his tone became, as if there was no better reason. Zhong Xiaohua had long been laughing in her heart. Looking at Manager Yang's respect for Lord Kong, it was needless to say that the difference between their positions in the cult of fragrance was too great. Yet, Manager Yang had forcefully used the Pill Repository Hall as a shield to persuade and educate her, fearing that she would have an affair. In fact, if she really had the intention of climbing up the social ladder, looking at Manager Yang's taboo towards Lord Kong, as long as she could rely on Lord Kong, even if Manager Yang pulled the Pill Repository Hall's purple ginseng elder, he probably wouldn't touch a single strand of her hair. However, was it necessary for Zhong Xiaohua to do this? He probably didn't even have the slightest bit of such thoughts. Zhong Xiaohua was both angry and amused. She cupped her hands and said, "Uncle Yang, don't worry. I'll remember your words clearly. I won't let you worry. It's easy to say this promise, but no matter what I say now, Uncle Yang may not fully believe it. Why don't you wait and see what I do in the future?" Manager Yang nodded with gratification and thought to himself, it's really like this. Even if you say it well now, what can I say when you turn around and look at Lord Kong's embrace? You're not perfunctory. You're a little interesting. You're worthy of little Yu's regard. Manager Yang's face was stiff. Then I'll see what you do in the future. I'll put you in front of me and watch over you carefully. Damn. Zhong Xiaohua was shocked. She thought, if you keep watching me like this, how am I going to find second brother? However, she still smiled and said, that's the best. If I can follow Uncle Yang, won't it save me a lot of trouble? Manager Yang nodded happily. Just as he was about to urge his horse to move, he reminded her, oh right, you can call me uncle and nephew in private. You must not let others see our friendship. Otherwise, even if you want to make things convenient in the future, others will see through it. Ayo, I'm dizzy again. Zhong Xiaohua was helpless. I still want to rely on you. No matter what, I feel like I'm living off a woman. She could only smile and say, I know this. Manager Yang, please don't worry. All right, let's go. Ren Xiaoyaro, your Rejuvenation Valley's carriage is now at the back of the convoy. There are a total of 6 carriages. 3 of them are items sent to the Fragrant Religion. They have already been merged into the front and handed over to the sect's disciples to watch over. The carriages that the 10 of you are in are at the back. Hihi, Valley Master Nai took care of you and let you share a carriage with Chong Chong. The other 8 people will squeeze into 2 carriages. Zhong Xiaohua smiled and said, isn't this all because of Manager Yang's concern? Manager Yang laughed and said, no wonder little Yu has taken a fancy to you. Your mouth is also very sweet. After he finished speaking, he spurred his horse forward. He felt very refreshed in his heart. Damn it, the feeling of scolding people is so good. No wonder old man Ji would scold me whenever he's unhappy. Seeing Ren Xiaoyaro being stunned by my scolding really makes me feel very good. How could Zhong Xiaohua know what he was thinking? She only shook her head from behind, patted Huan's bald horn, and directly chased after them. Previously, the Fragrant Religion's convoy had more than 10 carriages. In addition to the Rejuvenation Valley's carriages, there were already more than 20 carriages. From the front to the back, the winding path was not short. The Fragrant Religion's previous guard disciples were slightly insufficient. When a disciple walking at the back saw Manager Yang and Zhong Xiaohua chasing after them, he loudly said, Manager Yang, I heard that this brat has some skills. Manager Yang smiled and said, Ren Xiaoyaro was able to knock that Longteng Villa's sword young master out of the arena. Naturally, He has some skill. Brat, you also know this news, don't you? Hehe, I heard that he was beaten by Master Kong until he vomited blood yesterday. That disciple was somewhat gloating. What level is Master Kong at? No matter how powerful this brat is, he can't be compared to her. Even you, aren't you also several times more powerful than him? That disciple was very pleased and said with a smile, I wonder how your injuries are. Zhong Xiaohua was somewhat baffled. She cupped her hands and said, I took some medicine and am still in the process of recovery. However, there are no major problems. Hehe, that's good. However, that Yuhuandan pill is a good thing. That disciple did not finish speaking. Zhong Xiaohua immediately understood. She inwardly curled her lips and said with a frown, Is that so? So it's like this. Unfortunately, I only took one yesterday and the rest were taken away by Valley Master Nai. If I had known that it was so precious. That disciple sneered, If you had known that it was so precious, you wouldn't have given it to me. Hehe. Zhong Xiaohua sighed and did not speak. She then looked as if she had suddenly realized something and raised her hand to take it, saying, Ayo, I forgot that Valley Master Nai gave me some Rejuvenation Valley's self-made blood replenishing pills before he left. If senior martial brother is also injured, this little one is willing to give some to you. Don't. That disciple arrogantly waved his hand, Don't call me senior martial brother like this. It makes it seem like I am very familiar with you. I only asked you this because there aren't enough disciples guarding the carriages. I know that you know a bit of martial arts and wanted you to take care of the rear. You saying this makes it seem like I am coveting something from you. Although your Rejuvenation Valley's blood replenishing pill is famous in the Jianghu, it is only an extremely common pill in my eyes. Don't think that you can rely on it to make connections, and don't curse me to be injured for no reason like you. Zhong Xiaohua looked as if she had been lectured and repeatedly said that she did not dare. That disciple then said, Since your injuries are no longer a problem, I will leave the rear of the carriage to you. However, you don't have to be afraid. I will wait at the front to help you clear the way. You will only be a decoration. If there is anything, just call and we will immediately rush over. Zhong Xiaohua smiled and said, That would be best, Master. But please don't worry, this little one will be strictly on guard. If there is any trouble, I will immediately warn you. That disciple saw that Zhong Xiaohua was expressing her loyalty and was even pretending to be serious. He secretly laughed in his heart. This scoundrel actually thinks of herself as someone important. She doesn't even think of her own identity. She is only a medicine boy. Then he waved his hand, held his head high, and urged the horse forward. Seeing that disciple walk far away, Manager Yang smiled and said, Ren. Xiaoyao, don't take it to heart. The people of my sect all have their eyes on the top of their heads and cannot tolerate outsiders. Although this disciple is an outer disciple, he is also like this. Zhong Xiaohua smiled. How could he take this kind of contempt to heart? Soon after, Manager Yang also quietly came up and whispered, That. Nephew Ren, the Yuhuandan pill. Zhong Xiaohua nodded, Indeed, I also didn't know that the Yuhuandan pill was so precious. I thought it was only a healing pill. When Uncle Nai asked, I gave it all to him. My injuries were only healed by the blood replenishing pill. Utilda Manager Yang's face was full of disappointment. No wonder your injuries are not completely healed. Just now I was wondering why you were not fully healed even after eating the Yuhuandan pill. So it was because you ate the blood replenishing pill. Marshal Nai, that old bastard, still has this kind of skill. If I had known earlier, I would have asked him for it yesterday. Manager Yang inadvertently revealed a hint. He looked at Zhong Xiaohua and smiled, Don't look at me like that. You will naturally know the preciousness of the Yuhuandan pill when you arrive at the School of Fragrance. At that time, you will regret giving it all to your future father-in-law. The more Manager Yang said this, the more Zhong Xiaohua felt that she had made the right choice. If he had flattered the two of them and gave it to them, perhaps all the outer disciples would come over and ask for it. The Yuhuandan pill was not much to begin with, so who was suitable to give it to and who was not? She had not even entered the School of Fragrance and had already offended so many people. Cough cough, it was better for her to keep it. Even if she gave it to her second brother or the people from the Misty School in the future, it would still be better than offending others. After educating Zhong Xiaohua and not getting any benefits, Manager Yang said, Ren Xiaoyao, you stay behind and guard. If you are tired, you can rest in the carriage. I will go to the front to serve Master Kong. If you need anything, you can come and find me. Zhong Xiaohua cupped his hands in thanks. Manager Yang did not stop and went straight to the middle of the carriages. Zhong Xiaohua released her divine sense and looked forward. In the middle of the carriages, Master Kong was sitting cross-legged in the carriage. She did not know if he was cultivating or meditating. Zhong Xiaohua thought for a moment, then rode the David's deer to catch up with the carriages. She did not dare to waste any time. She had not completely understood the incantation of God's guidance. She might be able to hide it from Master Kong for a while, but once she arrived at the School of Fragrance, it would be unknown. If the School of Fragrance's elders or the head of the School of Fragrance noticed a clue, she would be like a lamb sent to the tiger's mouth. She would not be able to find any information about her second brother, and even her own freedom would be in danger. When Zhong Xiaohua reached the back of the carriages, she casually looked at the carriages behind her. Just as she was thinking about which carriage had a powerful person sitting in it, she saw the curtain of the last carriage open. A young man with rosy lips and white teeth stuck his head out and respectfully shouted, "Uncle." -3. Chapter 512. Zhong Xiaohua almost fell off the David's deer's back when she heard the young man call her little uncle. What kind of relatives are you? Valley Head Nai even told me to keep an eye on you. If you're not careful, I'll take your life. Who has the patience to claim kinship with you now? Zhong Xiaohua pretended to be puzzled. Are you so domineering? How did you get such a domineering name? Why did you call me little uncle? That domineering smiled. Little uncle is confused. I call Valley Head Nai's second daughter, Nai Chenxiu, auntie. Naturally, I'll call Nai Chenyu little aunt. You and little aunt are a match made in heaven. If I don't call you little uncle, what else can I call you? As for the name, it's just a title. Once we reach Chuan Xiong cult, we may have to change it to something else. It doesn't matter, right? Little uncle? Zhong Xiaohua sighed inwardly when he saw the shrewdness and flattery on his face. You're right in the beginning. It's just that I haven't had any contact with your aunt until now. You shouldn't call me uncle or anything like that. Moreover, you're right. Once we reach Chuan Xiong cult, we'll have to change our names. It's better if we don't have a relationship like this. Domineering said with a respectful face, little uncle is right. Although your relationship with little aunt hasn't become a reality, sooner or later, the rice will be cooked. I'm just calling you little uncle too early. In fact, no matter how you change your name in Chuan Xiong cult, won't you still be my little uncle? I'll always think so in my heart. You. Zhong Xiaohua was also helpless. This guy was too good at talking, and he was no match for him. He could only say, if the incense cult hears this name, it's inevitable that they will think of something. It's better to change it. Then how should I address you? Little uncle, please teach me. This. Zhong Xiaohua was also in a difficult position. Who knew how to address people in Chuan Xiong cult? She casually said, if it doesn't work, just call me by my name. After all, I'll be a medicine boy in the future. With a strong smile, he said, this medicine boy is not that medicine boy. I can't call my uncle's name directly. Let's just call him Young Master Ren. Zhong Xiaohua frowned. She thought for a moment and said, do as you wish. That's all we can do before we enter the fragrant religion. We'll talk about the future later. I will listen to young Master Ren's instructions. Then, he looked at the David's deer that Zhong Xiaohua was riding and laughed. I have always admired the David's deer of Rejuvenation Valley. My aunt has never brought me to see it. I didn't expect young Master Ren to have such a reputation and actually ride this David's deer out. She then turned to look at the carriage and said softly, I heard from my aunt that when Chuan Xiong cult recruits medicine boys from Rejuvenation Valley, they're not allowed to bring anything with them. They're only allowed to wear clothes. Since you're able to ride the odd beast here, You must be able to bring it into Chuanxiong cult. This treatment, TSK, is really, Zhong Xiaohua was taken aback. He didn't think too much about it. He just thought that riding a mount was nothing more than that. He didn't think that there would be such preferential treatment. Then, he naturally linked it to yesterday's meeting with the Fragrant Religion's emissary, Lord Kong. He was able to ride the odd beast to the Fragrant Religion, so it must have been Lord Kong's tacit approval. Others may not have seen Lord Kong's true appearance, so they thought that he and Lord Kong were old acquaintances, or at least had some connection. But Lord Kong under the veil, Zhong Xiaohua could clearly see that although she was beautiful, she had no significant relationship with him. Why would she treat him differently? This was rather strange. However, Zhong Xiaohua only waved his hand and said, "Isn't this all because of Steward Yang's good intentions? It's just that I'm causing trouble for him. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have ridden it." She smiled again and said, "Since you've ridden it, you've ridden it. It's also to show off young uncle's extraordinariness. By the way, young uncle, I vaguely heard the disciples of Chuanxiong cult asking you to guard the carriage. Ian, what's there to ask? It's just a decoration. Ayo, why are you calling me young uncle again?" Only then did Zhong Xiaohua come to a realization. "Young uncle, I'm used to calling you young uncle. I can't change it in such a short time. I promise that I'll only call you young master when there's no one else around." "You." Zhong Xiaohua was somewhat angry and thought to himself, this kid is only about 12 years old. How can he worm his way into being so close? Compared to him, this young master was an idiot. That year at Huanxi Mountain Manor, I was actually teased by someone like Ma Jing. If this kid was there, wouldn't he have played Ma Jing in circles? At this time, he said in a strong and mysterious voice, "My aunt and uncle were full of praise for your martial arts. At that time, I didn't think so and thought they were exaggerating. Now it seems that you're actually valued by the disciples of Chuanxiong cult. This nephew really admires young uncle." Zhong Xiaohua didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Then he heard the strong voice say, "Young uncle, from now on, this nephew's future will be in your hands. You must not forget about this nephew. By the way, young uncle, this nephew has learned a good massage technique since young. Are you tired? Let's get on the carriage and let this nephew serve you well." His strong and flattering appearance made Zhong Xiaohua have goosebumps all over his body. He waved his hand and said, I'm not tired. We've just started our journey." Then he smiled and said, "If young uncle is tired, just tell this nephew. Don't let your fertile water flow into other people's fields. This nephew has nothing to do." Hearing this, Zhong Xiaohua almost fell down again. "What do you mean by don't let your fertile water flow into other people's fields? How can you describe it like this?" Holding Huan's broad back, Zhong Xiaohua felt lucky. If it was an ordinary horse, it would have fallen down again and again. How terrible would that be? Zhong Xiaohua said with a straight face, "Chong, you just sit in the carriage. We've just started the journey and there's still a long way to go. I'll go to the front and take a look." After that, he patted Huan and rushed forward. Seeing that Zhong Xiaohua was running away, Chong couldn't help but smile brightly. He turned around and got into the spacious carriage. The two carriages in front were filled with children. When they saw Zhong Xiaohua riding the David's deer forward, they looked at the carriage window with envy. Seeing that Zhong Xiaohua had seen them, some of them were sensible and had already cupped their hands in greeting. There were also a few who quickly lowered their heads, as if to avoid something. A few more carriages were filled with things. There were disciples of the School of Fragrance who were leisurely riding their horses. When they saw Zhong Xiaohua coming over, they had already been informed by the other disciples that he was also taking care of the carriages. They nodded slightly at him and said, "Ren Xiaoyao, the carriages in front belong to the School of Fragrance. You don't have to care about them. Just take care of your own things. You don't have to go forward." Zhong Xiaohua cupped his hands and said, "Thank you for the reminder, senior brother. I'll go back now." As soon as he said senior brother, he knew that something was wrong. As expected, the disciple also frowned. Fortunately, this disciple's personality was good. He waved his hand and said, Go, but don't call me that in the future. Zhong Xiaohua was greatly embarrassed. He thought to himself, are the disciples of the School of Fragrance's external disciples this awesome? I'm only calling him senior brother, but he cares so much. Even the disciples of the Misty School back then didn't seem to be like this. If it was a normal day, Zhong Xiaohua might have asked what he should call him if he didn't call him senior brother. However, looking at that person's arrogant appearance, he was too lazy to ask. He cupped his hands and turned to leave. When Zhong Xiaohua was far away, that person snorted coldly and said softly, "You're just a medicine boy. Even if you're the son-in-law of Rejuvenation Valley, what can you do in front of us? If it weren't for the fact that Rejuvenation Valley treated you well 2 days ago, we would have cut your face long ago." Since he knew that he was just a decoration and that the School of Fragrance's carriages didn't welcome him, Zhong Xiaohua could only stay beside his family's 6 carriages. He still sat cross-legged and closed his eyes to comprehend his incantation. The School of Fragrance's carriages didn't go to Worry City after they left Rejuvenation Valley. Instead, they turned at a junction and went straight to the west. Although Zhong Xiaohua had never seen a caravan of more than 20 carriages, there were many such caravans on a daily basis. Even when Zhong Xiaohu was an escort, his caravan was no less than this. Therefore, although many people stopped to watch along the way, it didn't attract too much attention. On the contrary, the last person in the caravan looked sleepy and was riding a strange mule. He attracted more attention. Fortunately, the School of Fragrance's disciples were knowledgeable enough and didn't treat Zhong Xiaohua as an equal. Therefore, they just wanted to watch the show and focused on their own business. As for Zhong Xiaohua, he didn't care. From Tanhe City to Worry City, he didn't know how many people looked at him inexplicably. He was already used to it. In this way, 2 days passed. The caravan had traveled a long way according to the School of Fragrance's itinerary. When it came to the School of Fragrance's itinerary, Zhong Xiaohua admired it. It really was the style of a great sect. They didn't choose only the official roads, but also many winding paths. They didn't even avoid the deep mountains and old forests. Thinking back to when she was with Nai Chenyu and Little Orange, they didn't take ordinary paths. At first, Zhong Xiaohua was also very nervous about his habit of sleeping. But in these 2 days, he found that the School of Fragrance's caravan's itinerary was very orderly. Every time it was dark, they would arrive at a place to rest. And this place was often arranged properly. It wasn't some random inn. The food, drink, and accommodation were all ready-made. It seemed to be the place where the School of Fragrance's members lived. Zhong Xiaohua naturally stayed in the same room as Chong Chong. Although Chong Chong tried to get close to Zhong Xiaohua as soon as he entered the room, Zhong Xiaohua ignored him. He only said that he needed to cultivate his internal energy and could not be disturbed too much. After a few times, Chong Chong learned to be obedient and only served him carefully. Yes, served him tea and water, and did not say anything else. As for the night cultivation, it was even simpler. With just a finger wind, wouldn't the strong ones obediently sleep until dawn? Chong Chong was overjoyed for the past 2 days. He thought that his insomnia had finally improved. Every day when he woke up, he would nag for a long time. He was so annoyed that Zhong Xiaohua almost hit his acupoints again. One day, Zhong Xiaohua, who was walking on a rugged path and cultivating with her eyes closed, suddenly felt a jolt in her heart. She immediately released her divine sense in front of her as if she had sensed something. There will be a new atmosphere for the Lunar New Year. Everyone will be rich. Hee hee. Please cast your monthly votes and recommendation vote. Come and read more chapters. Support the author, support the original reading. -3. Chapter 5:13. A few hundred feet in front of the incense cult's convoy, there were dozens of people dressed in bright armor, standing neatly with weapons in their hands. In front of these people were a few refined people. Although they did not have weapons in their hands, their temples were bulging and there were swords hanging from their waists. At first glance, one could tell that they were sword masters. In front of them was an old man dressed in feathered clothes and a star crown. He held a feather fan and waved it unhurriedly, as if waiting for the fish to take the bait. Seeing this, Zhong Xiaohua was shocked. How could they be ambushed as soon as they came out of Rejuvenation Valley? However, if it was an ambush, why would they just stand there like that? Wouldn't they find a place to hide and wait for the convoy to pass by? Just as he was wondering, the old man did something that made him even more puzzled. The old man looked up at the sun and frowned slightly. At this time, in the distance, someone was holding a small flag and waving it rapidly. The old man's face lit up and he immediately turned around to give orders. The young men waved their hands. Zhong Xiaohua thought that they were going to ambush, but the dozens of warriors put away their weapons and quickly went to the back of the mountain. Not long after, they came back. Some people were holding bouquets, some people were holding trays, and some people were carrying huge boxes. These people came to the side of the road and lined up respectfully. Zhong Xiaohua looked at the trays and suddenly realized that there were some wine and food in the trays. Oh, so they were the people who flattered the incense cult. Immediately, Zhong Xiaohua was too lazy to pay attention to them and continued to comprehend his chant. Not long after, the incense cult's convoy came to the place where those people were waiting. The disciple leading the way was not nervous and shouted, "Who is in front? How dare you block the path of the incense cult?" The old man didn't panic. He took a step forward and said in a warm voice, "I am Maro Chi of the Firmament Fortress. I have been waiting here for a long time for the emissary of the fragrant religion. Please stay here for a while. We have food and wine for you. If possible, you can walk a few miles and you will arrive at our place. Please stay here for a night." The disciple smiled and said, "Sect leader Mao, you are too kind. I will go and report to the emissary and see if he agrees." After saying that, he patted his horse and left. Not long after, someone came back with a gloomy face. He said, "The envoy has given the order. The Firmament Docks leader Maro has accepted it. However, we still need to hurry on with our journey, so we won't stop." "Thank you, Leader Maro." Sect leader Maro didn't give way and continued to smile. "Please report to the envoy that the previous envoys are all resting in my sect. My sect has already prepared food and wine, so I hope the envoy will give us some face." The disciple was a little embarrassed. Just as he was about to turn his horse around, he heard a cold snort. "Sect leader Mao, when did you arrange the itinerary of my incense cult? Whether or not I go to the Heaven's Vault Dock is my decision. Although my senior and junior brothers give you face, do I have to be like them?" The voice wasn't loud, but it sounded like it was right next to his ear. Maro Chi was shocked and hurriedly bowed deeply. "I wouldn't dare. How could I have such courage? I just feel that the emissary must be tired from the journey, so I want to show my filial piety. I ask for the emissary's understanding." When Master Kong heard this, he became even angrier. "Since you know, why aren't you moving aside? Do you still want us to walk on the road like this?" When Maro Chi heard this, he quickly stepped back and made way for the emissary. Master Kong's voice sounded again. "In the future, if you encounter such situations, you don't need to report to me. Just drive them away." The disciple in front didn't dare to delay and immediately turned around to agree. Then, he scolded Maro Chi, "Sect leader Maro." When Maro Chi saw this, he hurriedly made a gesture of invitation and said, "I don't dare to disturb you. Please have a safe journey." The incense cult disciple raised his horsewhip and left first. The other carriages also formed a line and slowly drove past the people of the Heaven's Vault Dock. Although the disciples of the Heaven's Vault Dock were scolded by Peacock, they didn't dare to show any dissatisfaction. They only bowed respectfully and quietly waited for the carriages to leave. When most of the carriages had left and only the carriages of the Rejuvenation Valley were left, they slightly raised their eyes and stared at the carriages with jealousy in their eyes. It was as if they already knew that these carriages belonged to the Rejuvenation Valley. However, when their eyes fell on Zhong Xiaohua, who was sitting cross-legged beside the carriages and riding the David's deer with her eyes slightly closed, they were all shocked. They all frowned and looked at each other before lowering their heads again. Zhong Xiaohua was sitting on the David's deer and had already seen everything. She was also unhappy. Presumably, The Heaven's Vault doc had failed to flatter the incense cult and might take their anger out on the Rejuvenation Valley, who had a good relationship with the incense cult. She didn't know if she would bring trouble to the Rejuvenation Valley by swaggering in the carriages. Sure enough, when the carriages of the incense cult were far away, Maro Chi, who was watching from afar, turned around and asked, "The last disciple seemed to be riding the David's deer from the Rejuvenation Valley, right?" A young man behind him nodded and said, "Father, you're right. It is the David's deer. Only places like the Rejuvenation Valley have this kind of beast." Another person also disdainfully said, "The Rejuvenation Valley only knows how to flatter the incense cult. They even gave the David's deer to the incense cult. This kind of gift is not something that anyone in Jianghu can afford." Maro Chi also nodded. "No wonder the incense cult takes care of the Rejuvenation Valley. Every time they come out, they go to the Rejuvenation Valley. It is difficult for us to even meet the emissaries." At this time, he saw the person behind him frowning as if thinking about something. He asked, "Little Three, you've always been talkative. Why are you so quiet today? Are you scared by the incense cult?" Little Three raised his head and said, "Father, you saw the David's deer just now." Boy saw that the disciple riding the David's deer looked very familiar, as if he had seen him somewhere before. But he couldn't remember where. Maro Chi waved his hand. In the past, the incense cult's emissaries would more or less stop to rest. Some of them even rested at the Heaven's Vault dock. "Maybe you saw him at that time." Little Three still shook his head. "No, father. If it was a disciple of the incense cult that I saw before, Boy would be very respectful. How could I forget? Wasn't the one who led the way the last time we went to the Heaven's Vault dock." Boy still remembers. "This last disciple seemed to be someone I met recently. Also, I saw him from afar. I didn't see him clearly, so I couldn't remember." At this point, his eyes lit up and he slapped his forehead. "I remember now. It's actually this guy." Maro Chi was stunned and scolded. "Why are you so surprised? Tell me quickly, who is that person?" "He's not a disciple of the incense cult, but he's in the incense cult's caravan." Little Three laughed. "If he's not a disciple of the incense cult, then he's naturally a medicine boy of the Rejuvenation Valley." Maro Chi waved his hand. "The medicine boy is only about 10 years old. He's always hiding in the carriage. How could he dare to ride a horse outside like the guards?" Little Three said, "Father, do you still remember the martial arts competition for a spouse in the Rejuvenation Valley half a year ago? That 14-year-old boy who defeated the sword master of the Longtung Villa?" Hearing this, Maro Chi seemed to have thought of something and said in surprise, "Could it be that this guy is the Ren, something you were talking about half a year ago?" Little Three nodded and said, "I wasn't sure at first, but now the more I think about it, the more I'm sure. Boy was far away that day and didn't see it clearly. This guy later entered the Rejuvenation Valley and didn't even attend the banquet, so Boy's memory isn't very accurate. Didn't old Nai later call him Ren, something? Ren Xiaoyao. Yes, he said that Ren Xiaoyao was still young, just 14 years old. It would be a few years before he could marry his third brother. How could this be? Could it be that he was sent to the incense cult as a medicine boy? But what about his third brother? What about the martial arts competition for a spouse?" Maro Chi nodded thoughtfully and said, "I don't know what old Nai's plan is to tie the Rejuvenation Valley and the incense cult closer together. Forget it, let's not think about it anymore. I'd better discuss it with old Sun and the others." Little Three also nodded and said, "Father's idea is the best. Although the Falling Star Alliance is not strong, after all, there are many sects and they are well informed. They are the most suitable to find them. Okay, everyone, let's go home. There are ready-made food and wine here. Others don't want to eat it, but we can enjoy it." Many disciples behind him shouted loudly, instantly sweeping away their previous dejection. The caravan of the incense cult continued to move forward for nearly 20 days. During this time, there were countless sects waiting by the roadside like the Heaven's Dock, wanting to serve the incense cult. However, the disciples leading the way had learned from their previous experience. When they saw the leaders of these sects, they were not polite and directly scolded them. The caravan did not stop at all and directly sped past in front of them. At first, Zhong Xiaohua was wondering if the incense cult's way of doing things was appropriate and whether it would offend them. However, what he saw in front of him showed him the grandeur of the super sects in Jianghu. Those rejected sects were all submissive and apologized loudly. Many of them even bowed deeply. They did not dare to get up even when the caravan was far away. Where was the anger of being rejected? Every time he saw this, Zhong Xiaohua, who was walking at the back, secretly shook his head. Servility, this is servility. If such a sect only wants to find a solid backer and does not consider its own strength, how can it stand tall in Jianghu? Not to mention 100 years, 1,000 years, or even 10,000 years. Alas, this guy is standing, oh, no, sitting on the David's deer. Talking is easy. How would he know the difficulty of establishing a sect? If they did not flatter each other, these sects might not be able to hold on for even 10 years. After traveling for nearly a month, the weather gradually became humid, and the surrounding environment also changed. The number of mountains gradually increased, and the number of forests on the mountains also gradually increased. Moreover, there were many low and bare small stone peaks appearing from time to time, as if the forest was made of stone. Of course, the food also became spicy and sour. However, Zhong Xiaohua usually did not eat much, so he did not care. On this day, after passing through the dense forest, there was another lush forest in front of them. Sitting on Huan's back, Zhong Xiaohua, who had a breakthrough in the incantation of God traction, suddenly released his divine sense and looked forward. A few miles away, there was a ropeway in the air. A man in green stood steadily on the ropeway with his hands clasped behind his back, moving with the wind. -3. Chapter 5:14. This was the gap between the two mountains. The mountains were not very high, but the distance between the two mountains was very far, and the mountain stream was even more frighteningly deep. A rope bridge was placed between the two mountains. It was like a black line that swayed in the wind. The man in black stood leisurely in the middle of the cable bridge, with his hands behind his back, facing the direction of the fragrant religion's convoy, and quietly waiting. From time to time, the mountain wind would blow, causing the man's hair and clothes to flutter, but the man's eyes did not blink as he stared straight ahead. Zhong Xiaohua's divine sense shrouded over, but the man did not notice. It was only when Zhong Xiaohua carefully sized him up that he slightly frowned and raised his chin slightly, a little surprised in his heart. But when he used his qi to examine carefully, Zhong Xiaohua had already moved far away from him. Could this be some kind of welcoming gimmick from some sect? Zhong Xiaohua secretly muttered. Zhong Xiaohua wanted to categorize the man blocking their way as a threat, but along the way, the cult of fragrance had been very brazen, and did not hide their itinerary at all. The various sects had also been waiting for them on the road in advance, but they had not seen anything that was disadvantageous to the cult of fragrance. Gradually, Zhong Xiaohua began to understand why the disciples of the cult of fragrance had said that his escort was just for show. That was because, wherever they went, people would welcome them with open arms, so who would have evil intentions? But at this time, the convoy was still very far from the cable bridge, and the man in black did not notice the arrival of the convoy. His body did not reveal any killing intent, so he could not tell whether he was a friend or foe. After the time it took to eat a meal, the cable bridge was close. The man in black suddenly raised the corner of his eyes, and a smile appeared on his lips. His body moved slightly, and in an instant, an invisible killing intent immediately spread out from his body, and rushed straight towards the fragrant religion's convoy. Zhong Xiaohua was riding the David's deer at the very back of the group. When he saw the blue-robed man move and release an imposing aura, he knew in his heart that this guy was here to cause trouble. He was not angry but happy. To be honest, he had been tired of traveling for a while. If someone wanted to challenge the prestige of the fragrant religion, he would be happy to watch. At this moment, the disciple leading the way had already realized that there was a suspension bridge up ahead. Just as he was about to warn the group, a low harumph suddenly sounded, "Halt the convoy." It was Lord Peacock Kong's order. No one dared to dawdle. They immediately stopped the carriages and Peacock ordered, Go and see if there's any movement on the suspension bridge. She did not call out his name directly. The disciple who was leading the way immediately obeyed the order and urged his horse forward a few steps to the side of the mountain. When he saw the green-robed man on the rope bridge clearly, he sucked in a breath of cold air and shouted, "That man you, who are you? Why are you blocking my path? Why are you blocking my incense cult's advance?" The green-robed man's pale face was filled with contempt. He whispered, "You're just an outer disciple and yet you're so arrogant. What makes you think you have the right to ask for my name? Go and tell your Lord Kong that I don't welcome you. Tell your Lord Kong to come and face her death. After she dies, I'll throw you off this cliff one by one." The disciple of the incense cult had never been humiliated like this before. He was about to jump down from his horse when he heard an angry shout, "Come back, don't you know what you're worth?" After that, a white figure flew out from the middle of the carriage and headed straight for the side of the mountain. Seeing his lord coming down, the disciple did not dare to make a move. He quickly bowed and retreated. Peacock looked at the figure on the suspension bridge and then looked around. She ordered, "Protect the carriages carefully. Do not let this man's accomplice take advantage of the chaos to rob us. The goods in the convoy are worthless, but they care about the reputation of the incense cult." "I understand." After that, he ran back to the carriages and rearranged the guards to protect them. Zhong Xiaohua, the fake bodyguard, was relieved of his duties. A disciple of the incense cult stood not far from him with a long sword in hand. Seeing this, Zhong Xiaohua jumped down from his David's deer and sat in the carriage. Forceful poked his head out of the carriage and asked in fear, "Uncle, what's going on?" Zhong Xiaohua frowned. "Why are you shouting again?" It's nothing. It seems like someone is blocking our way. Another offering of food and wine." Forceful shook his head. "We meet them every few days. Hide in the carriage and don't talk. It seems like they're looking for trouble." "What? Looking for trouble? How dare someone touch the tail of the incense cult? Oh no, this is bad. They wouldn't dare to go to Liangshan if they weren't confident. Since they dared to come, they must have some confidence. Uncle, we're just medicine apprentices. They won't kill us, right?" "Nonsense, they're going to kill us all. They're going to keep you alive to report to the incense cult." Zhong Xiaohua looked at him with contempt. A child who has never been in the martial arts world is so ignorant. As expected, Forceful's face turned pale and he said with a trembling voice, "Uncle, we're relatives. If you run, don't forget to take me with you." Zhong Xiaohua glared at him. "Even the disciples of the incense cult can't escape. Where can I go?" "You should pray for Master Kong. Only if she wins will we be safe." Forceful nodded like a chicken pecking at rice. Okay, I'll pray now." "Uncle, are you not coming?" Zhong Xiaohua was annoyed. "I'm not sincere." "You do it." Then he released his spiritual sense and admired from afar. He no longer cared about Forceful. Peacock came to the end of the suspension bridge and looked at the surrounding terrain. The bridge was very long and connected the two places. It was the only way. Below the bridge was a deep mountain stream. Inside the stream were countless trees. Everything was green as far as the eye could see. With a plan in mind, Peacock asked calmly, the heroes in front, "Why are you so unfamiliar? What's the matter with you stopping my convoy?" Although the voice was faint, it was transmitted directly into the ears of the man in green. Due to the wind, he could not hear it clearly. The man in green laughed coldly. "I'm Liang Tsunxu. I'm a nobody. Even if Master Kong knows my name, you won't know where I come from. Since I know you're Master Kong and I'm blocking your only way, what do you think I can do? I'll just take your life and kill everyone in the incense cult." "Hihi, you have a good plan. But just you alone. Don't you think that's wishful thinking? Lord Kong, you really live like a prince. Although there are many people in the aroma sect, the only one who can make me act is Lord Kong. I only need to kill you, and the others will be as easy as squashing ants, won't they?" Peacock nodded. "You're right. But I'm curious. Who in Jianghu wouldn't flatter the incense cult when they see them? Why do you have to go against the incense cult?" "Ha ha ha," Liang Tsunxu laughed. "Master Kong, If you're trying to get information from me, Liang, then you're wrong. Come, let me see what a disciple of the incense cult is capable of. After saying that, he raised his hands, which had been behind his back, in front of him, holding a steel knife in each hand. Not only was Zhong Xiaohua stunned, even Peacock frowned. As the saying goes, 10 days to practice the fist, 100 days to practice the blade, 1,000 days to practice the spear, 10,000 days to practice the sword. In this Jianghu, most of the people who were highly skilled in martial arts used swords. Only by using swords could they display their profound internal energy and superb moves. Of course, there were exceptions. Zhong Xiaohua's fist training was much more strenuous than her sword training. However, since this inexplicable Liang Tsangshu dared to stop the inner disciple of the incense cult, Peacock, no one would believe that he did not have some degree of confidence. This meant that his cultivation of the saber was not low, and he must have a unique skill. Moreover, he was wielding a pair of blades rarely seen in Jianghu. Flexible sword, another flexible sword. Zhong Xiaohua's heart skipped a beat. She could not help but think of Qin Shiyu from the Tenri sect. That person also wielded a flexible sword, but he was used to slashing and killing. Peacock was dressed in a snow-white robe, holding a flexible sword that swayed in the wind from time to time. The sword was slender and the beauty was graceful. It was a picture of beauty. Peacock stepped onto the suspension bridge and walked forward steadily. Even though she was slender, the bridge swayed with every step she took. However, Liang Tsangshu was standing very steadily. His body swayed along with the bridge as if he was one with the bridge. When Peacock saw this, she was not surprised. She waited for Liang Tsangshu to come closer before she swung her flexible sword. The flexible sword pointed diagonally towards the sky. Peacock laughed coldly and said, "Liang Tsangshu, I don't care who you are. If you stop now, it's not too late. Turn back now and I'll pretend that nothing happened. But if you wait for me to strike and chop off your head, it'll be too late for regret." Liang Tsangshu crossed his blades and slashed them across the air. He laughed. "Until now, you're still thinking of winning without a fight? Are the inner disciples of the incense cult all so fond of using logic to convince others?" As he spoke, he stomped his foot and levitated into the air. He shouted, "Since you're not going to make a move, then I'll teach you what it means to strike first." Before he finished his sentence, the blade in his right hand was raised and slashed towards Peacock's head like a rainbow. Peacock did not back down. She laughed coldly, "I see that you don't know any etiquette. You don't look like a useless disciple from any sect. Let me teach you what it means to be a real master." Then, like a flash of lightning, Peacock charged forward. The flexible sword in her hand was aimed at Liang Tsangshu's throat. The speed of the flexible sword was faster than the steel blade. If Liang Tsangshu did not dodge, the flexible sword would have penetrated his vitals first. However, Liang Tsangshu did not pull back his saber to counter the attack. Instead, he made a circle with his left hand and flicked his wrist outwards. The other steel saber blocked the direction of the soft sword. Please vote. 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 -3. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories,